I know. I get it. We're leading with Star Wars on a Friday. It's Capes and Cowls. Well, Marvel does Star Wars comics too, so that's my excuse, and it's a worthy excuse because this is a story we got to talk about. Daisy Ridley was on our buddy Josh Horowitz's show and said that news about the movie is imminent. There's going to be some stuff that's coming out really soon about what's happening with the movie. Okay, that's promising, right? But at the same time, today, Steven Knight, Peaky Blinders, Gonski, he leaves. Now, that was what everybody was getting excited for because, like, oh, this guy's coming in, he's drafted. Is his draft, did they base, because this happens in writing all the time, did they take it? Did they say, okay, thank you for your work, we're going to bring somebody else in now, we're going to work off this, thanks for joining us? Or it's just like, it's not working, I don't know what's happening here, I'm out of here. And yet, continuing the long line of directors and writers that are just leaving the projects left and right. So we're going to discuss that, but we also have a lot of other things. There's Avengers stuff, there's Spiderman stuff, there's DC stuff, there's Penguin stuff. There's so much to discuss. And it's myself, it's Winston, it's Coy. Let's do it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the big thing. Perfect. It's Kristian Harloff show. It's myself and Winston and Coy. They are all here. I promise you guys that they're here. I promise you. There they are. Winston, Coy, we are back. What's up, guys?
He don't know where he at, Coy, like Penguin's mama.
I know.
Jack, help me. What's going on?
I know. Speaking of that, man, Coy and I were just talking just now, and I just interviewed Renzi Felice yesterday and we sat down for about an hour. I went into the city. I'll tell you, found a really good spot to hold in studio interviews for people who can't come here. Because, well, I'll show you this first, and you guys will be able to hear it. The audience will be able to see it. But this is a quick clip from the beginning of yesterday's episode with Matthew Lillard. Here it is.
Oh.
I started.
Just start the show.
We started the show. Matthew Lillard is here.
How long does it take to get mini Manola?
Dude, at the time you came here, though.
Bro. It was always the time I was coming.
I know, but I couldn't believe that was
Ladies
the time you decided.
Gentlemen, never accept this offer. If you were in Manhattan at 2:00,
that's bad. That's why I couldn't believe it. So you said though, but
suck it to cola.
Ferriola.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why I wouldn't have. I literally said, "Can I take a train?"
100% could.
Well,
it takes you from where you would have been. It took it. I go into the city. That's why when you said before, you could fly. I went to the city last night. It took me 35 minutes. Not today. Yeah, so we had on Matthew Lillard, and it was really fun in the beginning there. But because of that, the whole thing with him, he wasn't able to make it. It took him 2 hours to make it from the city at that time because he took a car in. I was like, you should take a train. And he's like, I wish somebody would have told me to take a train. It would take him 30 minutes. However, I was like, okay, it's going to be harder for people to do that. So I found a great studio, and I sat down with Renzi for about an hour. We talked so much Penguin, and people were like, oh, I hope you asked him about Miles Morales. We talked about Miles Morales for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Dude, I love that kid, man.
Easy.
Like I talked to him on the Runaways set back in the day, and he is such a sweet, talented, intuitive, like one of those older than their years old souls, and like he's so catching up to his own like maturity. Like he's keeping up with Colin Farrell, giving one of the best performances I've ever seen. Like Renzi's an angel, and Matt Lillard, like what a cartoonishly good guy. If I had a time machine, that's my Carnage right there. That angel of a man.
Yeah, he's really, really, really good. He talked about Colin Farrell. He talked about how he got the show in general. He talked about, I asked him about basically what I said to him because I'd seen some clips about people asking him if the Batman was going to show up, right? And I said, is that just an answer that they tell you to say? He's like, well, you know, if it was, it was. And I go, all right, well, how about this? We're both Yankees fans. Can you confidently say that he will not show up, and if he does, you will get us New York Yankee playoff tickets together next year. and so he left. So, and that's a typical Yankee fan, by the way. The World Series starts tonight. We're still talking about the playoffs next year. So it was a really good one. We're getting some really good interviews.
The man lived in LA for how many years, and he doesn't even acknowledge the Dodgers.
I think he just did. He's admitting that he ain't gonna do a damn thing, so he's already looking forward to the playoffs.
I'm talking about.
That's
repeat.
literally what you just admitted.
No,
you were like, "Give me the next year's playoffs because we ain't winning this World Series."
That's what a loser thinks. If a loser hears that, and that's what a loser thinks, but a winner thinks, "Wow, so we already took our championship, and now we got to prepare again for next year back to back." That's how it works. Not how the Rangers doing. How the Rangers doing?
That you think
Cowboys are great.
Talking about the Rangers right now.
Cowboys are great.
Talking about the greatest baseball player that has ever lived.
Who?
He's about to whoop yo.
That's great. So, what's even better is that you can't do that in an argument virtually when I'm running the show. You just can't. You got to know that stuff, right? Especially after I'm a nice guy, Coy. I could have went to San Francisco and had a nice trip. Instead, I gave it to my friend Winston. And what does he do? He poops in my yard. He poops in my yard.
You know,
You think that's nice?
he can't even defend himself, and
You know
that's
what?
the power of producing.
You are right. You just did something that I think that it was right. You're right. Okay, thank you.
Infinite power.
Infinite power. All right, let's have Winston back because I do need him to talk about this stuff that's going on. Okay.
I didn't know you were in the business of silencing black voices, Kristian.
Oh, you gotta. It was this Roca. Are you Roca?
Look, if you taking cheap shots,
You going
if you just
Roca?
cutting microphones,
Roca?
you think I'm just gonna sit here and play fair?
Come on. It's like watching that Vincent Mann documentary. He's just like they were talking about how he says to his son as he's wrestling him when he was younger, and he grabs his son's like rib cage. He goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I always cheat to win." It's like, oh my
Yeah.
that's unbelievable.
That documentary is crazy.
It is pretty crazy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I already knew, but there was also stuff that it's just like a whole journey there, and then leading into the craziness that happened. But anyway, all right, guys, we got to discuss this. As I said, I know that normally we don't cover Star Wars on this show, but I think it is a story we should absolutely dive into, and that is, oh, look at this, great, good shot.
Well, an ad for something we don't know.
I know,
Huzzah.
it's Huzzah.
Doing it live.
Doing it live. There we go. So Rey, the movie, we know that it was supposed to come out in 2026. At least that's what they say, December of 2026. And then there was a report and rumors that it wasn't going to come out, that there was problems. Then there was rumors that Steven Knight wasn't happy. And, you know, we continually get people dropping off of these projects left and right. Well, Peaky Blinders creator Steven Knight is reportedly no longer writing the upcoming Star Wars film, previously named New Jedi Order, that will see the return of Daisy Ridley's Rey. Puck News broke the story and indicates that as a result of this, the film will likely not achieve its previously rumored December 2026 release date. Knight took over from the original screenwriters Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson, who departed the project very early last year. At one time, this was expected to be the first new Star Wars film to hit screens following the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. That plan was shut down when The Mandalorian and Grogu was set for summer 2026. Lucasfilm's now hunting for a new writer on New Jedi Order, while Charmin Obaid-Chinoy remains attached to direct the project. Whether Lucasfilm will give up that December 2026 slot is unclear, especially with Daniel RPK reporting this week that James Mangold could be going into production on his Dawn of the Jedi project next year. Knight is a veteran screenwriter who has penned the likes of Eastern Promises, Locke, Spencer, and TV series like Taboo and C. And the follow-up to that is that Josh Horowitz had Daisy Ridley on his show for promoting her, Magpie, and he asked her about Star Wars, and she basically said there's news that they're waiting. She's seen something. Looks like there's news that's coming that's imminent, is what the way that she phrased it. I don't doubt that there's news coming soon. And as I mentioned, there are many times, Coy, where you have a writer on a show or movie. It happens. They leave. You take that. I mean, it happened with Michael Arndt when he was on Force Awakens, and he moved. You go back and forth, and then you work off those drafts. But this seemed like it was getting closer and closer to 2026. To me, this reads like, here we go again. This is happening once again. This movie, I don't believe, is coming out in 2026. Is it canceled? I don't know. I think they have Daisy Ridley. I think you lock her down to do it. But this is not good, right?
Every studio needs a Blade. I feel like it is the beginning of it needs to happen in the next year or two, getting locked up, or it's going to just like keep pushing out and out and out. I personally am a huge Steven Knight fan. I was most interested in the Rey movie out of the array of announcements, because it's the only one that felt like it knew what it was. I feel like a lot of the Star Wars stuff, as an outsider, it feels like this might work, but at least Rey had some chance of redemption for her character, potentially Boyega's, and then you throw in Steven Knight. I was excited for this, so I'm hoping it still comes to fruition, but it doesn't look good when they've had this much turmoil and 2026 is going to be here before we know it. So it doesn't, I mean, it feels like Blade, where it's once the mess starts to unravel, it keeps going.
Winston, there's a... the other thing inside of this is the report that James Mangold's movie is going into production next year. If that's the case, if it's going into production next year, they could ultimately turn this thing around and get it out in 2026. So do you think that they say, okay, Steven is off this project, we're still going to hold true to that release date, James Mangold gets his movie in 2026, and then we'll get Rey out in 2027?
I mean, that seems like the way to go, especially if they don't keep the script that was left behind. It's pretty commonplace, as both of you have discussed already. It's pretty commonplace that they like the script, but they maybe have some differences. There's some timing issues. There's we want to take the core here, but we're going to let somebody else take a pass, and then the person that left still gets the credit, either a story by or whatever, depending on how much they keep, how much they alter. So it's very possible that they're just like, look, thank you for the foundation. We're gonna move on. So we just got to wait and see. But I think that would be the smart move. Give Mangold 2026 and then push.
I think. You move it to 2027 if it's still a story you want to tell. The other question is that I don't think Charmaine is going to direct this movie. I don't think it's going to happen. I think what will happen is eventually Sean Levy is still teed up to do a movie. He's still teed up to do a Star Wars movie. And this is the Deadpool director that they probably want. They want to get him in there. He has talked about Rey before. I think they're going to combine it. I think that he'll wind up doing the Rey movie. I think that movie will come out in 2027. Gives him time to work on it. Gives them time to build it, to hype it. So I think it's going to wind up being Mangold in 2026. And then you'll have, maybe 2 more movies in 2027. I don't know. But I think that Rey movie will happen. But I think you guys are right also. I think it's the Mangold movie, especially if it's going into production. If that's the case and he knows what he wants to do. It's just like the overall problem, though, again, is why this keeps happening with Star Wars. I mean, I can start listing all the directors and the writers and people who have left these projects. And it happens in every studio, sure, but at this pace, there has not been a movie to come out, Star Wars, since 2019. And it's not like, one of these movies that like, oh, well, the last one didn't do that well. They all made $1 billion minus Solo, and they still haven't done anything. You going to say, Winston?
I mean, the problem is you would have to convince Kathleen to walk away. And I don't know if she will. I think it's just a situation where you have yet to right the ship. And there's a point at which, like, what Kathleen Kennedy feels like to me, at least as far as this stuff keeps going, feels very a la sports analogy for those that are following the NFL, Mike McCarthy. This idea that this coach should have been gone, and yet ownership is just like, nah, keep going, doing what you're doing, whether it's because there's a perceived sense of control there, there's like some buddy stuff going on, whatever it is. There's something has to be said about the fact that you cannot retain talent within your pool, or that a number of your projects are continue to get lambasted. Now, whether you want to have the argument about them being about the quality of them or just haters or whatever it is, it still continues to be a problem where you have seen the haters poke their heads out in other divisions, even from the overall parent company, and yet bangers can still come out and things can still move forward, whereas this seems to continue to stall out a lot. So,
and I think it's more. You gotta go.
What's hard for me is like her reputation. Like she's such a good producer from the 80s, 90s, early. Like it's been 7 years, and that name meant such a positive when it was first announced. When she was attached to stuff in the 80s, 90s, like she's responsible for so much Spielberg and Lucas glory.
Right.
I would hate for her to go out on the bottom. I'd love for it to come to, a movie or two or three, some big wins, and then exit on top. Like, I'd love if, Grogu and Mandalorian does well, and then she's got Mangold, and then something. But it's just really hard with this big of a gap, with this popular of an IP and this vocal of a fan base.
I'll go the other way with it a little bit, kind of agreeing and disagreeing at the same time. I'll agree that I think that she should stick around for The Mandalorian and Grogu, because that movie, out of all of them, has the chance to really make a lot and cross over, because everybody knows who Baby Yoda is, or Grogu. We know Grogu. Most people, Baby Yoda, so they're going to want to see a Baby Yoda. But that was the one thing that crossed over to mainstream. You got a good shot. I don't agree that she should stay on afterwards and try to win with a Mangold and everything too, because I agree more so with Winston that the coaching staff is not doing it. They're not doing it at all. You can have somebody, someone will hit a home run and then they hit a home run, but you got to hit more home runs and you got to win a championship. And I don't think that they're doing that. And Winston, I believe, and I've been saying this a lot, it's a lot more than just Kathleen Kennedy. I think that the people who are doing the books, the people who are doing the video games, the people who are doing the animation, like all that stuff, keep them. They know what they're doing. It's working over there. Get rid of the people working on TV and film. Get rid of them. The whole lot of them. Move Filoni back to animation. Get rid of them. It's not working. And the other thing that I had heard, at one point, the big deal where Apple was looking to take Disney on and stuff too. There was like all those swirling reports they were looking to buy them out, and Iger was trying to get it done. What I heard was that it was very, very close. I heard it was very close, and they didn't want the theme parks, and that was what killed it. That's what
Wait. So Apple almost
took Disney,
like bought Disney straight out. You're not even talking about
the film and TV and stuff too. From what all that rumors that was going on at the time they were going to sell it, and then I heard that the deal was so close that it was the theme parks that just killed it. So there was a shot that Star Wars actually was going to go to Apple. And now it's gone.
And then we'd never know if a movie was coming out because they don't have to advertise.
It's true. That's true. Also, they just kind of dumps in there. That's absolutely true. Scorsese.
Hey, there's a Star Wars movie up.
Scorsese doing an Apple movie.
I love Apple, but man, do I go on that app and go, that looks good. Wish I'd heard about it.
It's great stuff, it's
bro. True. But you know why that's the case, man? It's because they don't even necessarily. This is a retired billionaire, like of a person, but as a company that's just like, what I'd like to do as a side hobby? I just put Jason Segel and Harrison Ford in the show. Grabbing Adam Scott, I don't care. Maybe a Maya Rudolph, whatever.
throw them in there. So anyway, that's what we're gonna. That's it. That's really all you can say. It's the same old stuff, and we'll have to see. But what I don't want to see people do is, once Grogu and Mandalorian comes out and it makes $1 billion or whatever it does, they're back. They did it. It's like, no, what happens next? What happens next? In the same way that Marvel, look what Marvel's doing.
That's all I was going to say, is because people wanted to say that about Guardians, and it's like, no, remember, this is kind of its own thing because it's wrapping up something. And then we ended up with the Marvels, which again, I liked, but let's talk about what it did financially. It just didn't do very well. Like if we're being honest, and same thing where we're like, great, Deadpool and Wolverine, awesome. But again, it's you set some stuff up and it's doing well, but we're already hearing rumors about Brave New World. So we have to see the consistency there. It's not about winning one game. It's not about making the playoffs. It's about showing that you're a championship caliber team.
Totally. So put your thoughts in there. Tell us what you think. We want to know, do you think that it's same old, same old? Are they going to make some moves? Do you think Kathleen Kennedy walks away after Mandalorian and Grogu? What says you? All right, before we move on I want to tell you guys, Winston and Coy, that, we have every week with the questions. Rocha started off strong, as he always does, right? And I think he had like 67 or something along the lines. Mike and Roxy came in firing, about 82 the next day. Brett and Steph said, hold my beer, 104. Is what they have right now. So it's always, and everyone said the final battle is between the Capes and Cowls crew. It's always Winston and Coy coming in to fight. Right now, it seems like Steph. This is the first time Steph's been on She missed last week, but her back-to-back performances, she's hit 100. So back-to-back. That's first.
Well,
How we doing? I'm seeing like
you're doing well.
Consistent.
You're doing well right now. Right now, after the first story, you're already at 25.
Well, I mean, look, we got a lot to potentially talk about, y'all. So just to give you some stuff, if you want to ask questions about, because you can ask a lot. You can ask questions about Penguin and Agatha. Both of those are rolling. People were asking about Absolute Batman last week, and I know you read every single comic that's ever been made, Coy. So you can obviously ask Coy a lot about that stuff. I just came back about Ultraman Rising, so you have questions about that. I can certainly answer some of those, and we've got a great set of interviews coming out on here
Winston.
too. So you got options.
Look at Winston marketing. I love it. All right, so
also Venom is out in theaters
Venom.
today.
There's also Venom. You can ask us questions about Venom too.
Today it's Venom Day. I was also at New York Comic Con. I'll bring the marketing. New York Comic Con. I was at the Sony panel, the Blum panel, Venom. I've seen it. I was at the premiere. Let's talk about it.
He's at the premiere. Didn't get a phone call to say, "Hey, want to meet for some pizza afterwards?"
I didn't know you were in the city till I saw the Rimsey video, and I was like, God. Oh no, we texted that I was going to be there Thursday. We did connect.
Trash.
We connected.
Yeah, he's
trash.
He's too cool. He's too cool. Looking to take pictures with Venom in a selfie on a selfie stick. I am Venom.
Nothing cooler than a selfie stick.
I am Venom. All right. Here we go.
Selfie.
Venom: The Last Dance. It's earned 8.5 in Thursday previews, but it soars overseas as the audience score is revealed. Hey now. So Venom: The Last Dance is now playing in theaters, and Sony Pictures threequel earned a solid $8.5 million in Thursday previews in the U.S. This is, however, a franchise low, as Venom made $10 million and Venom Carnage, or Let There Be Carnage, did $11 million 3 years later. However, like those, it appears this movie will ultimately exceed expectations at the worldwide box office. Its projected global opening weekend has risen to 180 today, a 5% boost from the second movie's 171.6. Domestically, it's still eyeing a $65 million weekend, but it's likely that Venom: The Last Dance will be considered a hit when it's all said and done. A cinema score has not been generated at this point, but it's scoring 3.5 on ComScore Screen Engine's post-track, which puts it in the same ballpark as Venom: The Last Dance. Where is it? Venom: The Last Dance received 4. The Venom movies are largely critic-proof, and it appears fans are enjoying it more than them so far. While the blockbuster sits at 37% on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score popcorn meter is a far more impressive 77%. It's still early days for that, but Venom received 80% and the sequel is 84%. Short of a disastrous Joker Folie à Deux style drop during its second weekend, we'd imagine Sony's already trying to woo back Tom Hardy, Kelly Marcel for Venom 4, unless, of course, the plan is for Eddie Brock to appear in Spider-Man 4. Okay, that's enough. So this is this does not surprise me at all, because this is what I said. I watched your out of the theater reaction, Coy, and I agree with what you're saying, because we both approached it differently, right? Well, the way that I looked at this movie was, if you enjoyed 1 and 2, then my opinion is that you are going to think that 3 is much better than 2 and maybe even better than 1. It doesn't change anybody saying, what's wrong, Winston? You got gas?
I'll wait till I speak. That's fine.
All right. So it could be, right? So like, if you have this movie that doesn't change tone from 1 and 2, stays the same, relies on the Tom Hardy relationship basically with Tom Hardy, but as Venom, it's Venom and Eddie Brock. It's that buddy thing. It's a sloppy movie, but it tells the audience this is what it is. It leans into the goofiness at times. And if you're on board with it, since 1 and 2, and that's why the audience score doesn't, surprise me at all, but it's just not a critic's movie. This is not going to win over people that didn't like 1 and 2 and go, oh yeah, well, the third one, so much different and much better and way grounded. So do you agree with that at all, Coy?
I came out saying that if you like the trilogy, it is in that trilogy. Like, it would have been weird if they suddenly changed what the movie was. I also think that the comics that are Venom-centric comics are weird. Like, it's always been totally appropriate to me, to David Michelini and Todd McFarlane's take on Venom in the 90s. The Lethal Protector run, Separation Anxiety, Venom the Hunger, Sin Eater, all the stuff that is Venom without tying into other things is exactly the tone of the first two. So if you like that tone, but if you never liked that tone, it would be odd if the third movie was suddenly like Alien, Aliens, Alien 3. Like, it's right in a trilogy. So it's not going to convert you, but those other ones made a lot of money. So if you're amongst that audience, I think this one's, fun. I think personally I'm, 1 is my favorite, then 3, then 2. But I also don't expect it to convert people. Like I would never show Martin Scorsese even Winter Soldier because it's not going to convince him. And like it's all in what kind of tone you want out of these movies.
Winston, you were going to say?
I find all this super hard to believe because I really did not enjoy it. Now, I don't know if part of it has, and I liked the first 2 Venom films.
Okay.
I feel like I was the one person on this panel that was like, no, I'm actually having a good time with these. And especially knowing what I'm getting myself into, I'm like, nah, let's go. The speed version without giving any spoilers, I enjoyed Act 3, but 1 and 2, I was bored, barring Eddie and Venom's relationship. I not a fan of the little side quest people that we have personally.
No, they underused them. You get Chiwetel Ejiofor and Juno Temple, who are buried in this movie.
I don't disagree with any of that. I think the B and C plot are not that great, but the A plot for me, I would literally watch Tom Hardy talk to himself as Venom, read a dictionary.
Absolutely.
But like that's enough for me.
But I guess that's the problem, to continue to be peppered in. Like again, this is not a spoiler, but there's like a family that Eddie deals with. I that drove me crazy. I genuinely was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And I know it was trying to ground him and make him human, but the whole thing, and that sucks because I was enjoying seeing in Act 3 that big battle and certain things happen and all of that. Like that all was like great. Why did this take so long? Yeah. But I will be honest, I probably was tainted by the whole situation in a pissy mood because in like a maybe 40% full theater and this whole row is kind of empty. I had these 2 teenagers that would not stop talking sitting directly next to me.
It's the worst. Did you say anything?
I definitely was like, guys, can y'all chill? And they go, it's a movie. Who cares? And I'm like,
oh no,
I'm going to kill somebody.
It's a movie. Who cares? Oh my God!
This is why I avoid the public.
I'm telling you,
the older I get, man.
This is why I like going to our screeners if we can go. I fortunately was in San Francisco, so I couldn't even hit up Coy to be like. Though you were in New York.
I went to New York, yeah.
So I was.
So that's the thing is like press screening to me is like a bunch of pretentious people with their quills out trying to feel like.
But I'll
important.
take it. But I'll take
and then,
it.
Oh, that's better. It's like the public, the press, and then I like premieres because it's a celebration of art. Like I don't really care to wait in line to meet people anymore because I'm old and tired. But like I just like the audience being joyous instead of like pretentious.
Only reason I ever liked not ever liked, but the only reason over the last like 5 or 6 years that I liked going to premieres is because you can get your reaction out there earlier.
Yeah.
Because
and I like you get in and out. Like the waiting in the beginning is rough, and I really just don't care about like the like. I don't want to get dressed up to see a movie, but I also want the 2 hours in that movie to be about celebration.
I know.
So to me, it's really the only place to do that anymore.
I agree.
Society's crumbled.
I agree. The only problem with that, though, for what we do, at least what I do, is that and you're doing it a lot more now too. I think that the problem is that when you go to a premiere, you're surrounded by the people that made the movies, and so people that we don't know are getting big things of applause, and they might have just held up a glass in one shot, and they're getting a big round of applause, and it almost like it's like when a comedian who has never done comedy before brings 45 friends to a room.
Suddenly he's the funniest guy ever.
A room in 50, and then everyone's laughing at themselves. Is that guy funnier than I thought he was? And because it does power into the audience, right? So the audience starts to think, oh, this is a lot of fun. We're having so much fun here. I remember walking out of Love and Thunder and
That's a perfect example. Love and Thunder that premiere really made me think the movie was a full 1.5 stars better than it was.
I felt like I was a crazy person. I walked out of that and I felt like I stuck my nose in a pile of trash, and everybody else, I remember Greg Alba looking at me and go, what movie were you watching? And I'm like, that. It was terrible. And he's like, what? It wasn't that bad. And I'm like, he was good. It was really good. And not just him. Tons of people. Tons of people that were doing that.
But I was at Venom. I gave this a 3 out of 5. Like I think there's a version of it that goes the other way when you're watching it at a press screening, where if there's dead silence and literally scratching of notepads, then it's like, oh God, is this bad? And I would always rather err on the side of like fun versus like.
No. See, and that's the thing. I think because I am so, especially in this era of my life, I'm so unapologetically myself. Kristian's been with me sometimes when we have been in movies. And I'm not going to name no names, but like folks that we all know that like, and I'm out here like, ha, hey, yo, like Kristian has been there with me where I'm losing my shit and there's no reason. I'm the only one. Someone else is groaning and I'm laughing. So no, I would rather it be quiet, even if it's just the notepads, because I will be myself versus if I've got people lifting it up way too much. I agree with you. It's a little bit easier to get swayed by that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I think that Coy, he says the same thing. And but remember, Coy, the fact that 3 out of 5, and that's, I feel fair for him because he likes the movies and he understands you. I knew that you were going to enjoy it because it is that 90s feel, right? I think I gave it like 2.5 or something, right? Because it's like,
so yeah, even at the premiere, it's only half a star, and I generally like these more than you. So I think that as long as you go into the premiere with that expectation, you can kind of feel yourself going like, oh wait, is this real or the experience of in the room?
Yeah, but they were right though in that article that it's critic proof. It's not going to have anything to do in the way that Joker 2 wasn't. This will be. So, what do you guys think? Are you going to go see Venom? Are you going to go check it out? Put your comments in there. Tell me what you're thinking. Now, before we move on, because we have some more stories to cover, a lot of great stories to cover, I want to tell you guys about AG1. I'm going to tell you guys about Built. Here it is. Let's talk AG1. I love AG1. I had it this morning. I love it. It helps you build a healthy morning routine. 60 seconds to get your daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, adaptogens, more. And I've been drinking it for, forever. You can't be part of this show if you haven't heard me talking about AG1. I'm going to give you a couple of fast facts about AG1 and how it supports your gut health. It contains prebiotics, probiotics, and gut-supporting ingredients to support your digestion, reduce bloating, and keep you regular. In a research study, 80% of participants noticed less gas and bloating after 30 days of drinking AG1. For me, I've had a lot of changes since I started to. I sleep better, better gut health, my focus, stress, all of it. It's just great. AG1's powder form makes it easy for your body to digest and access the nutrient-dense ingredients in the formula. They've been around with us for so long because so many of you guys have been doing it also. You've been getting AG1, you've been checking it out, you've been changing your routines, and it's worked. So if you want to start and notice the difference for yourself, it's a great first step to invest in your health, and that's why they've been a proud partner of mine for so long. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/bigthing. $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. Go ahead, check it out. Built. I really hope that people are going to start taking advantage here of Built, because listen up, renters. If you ever feel like you're stuck in this loop of rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air, it is time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards, and that's where Built Rewards comes in. You've done that before. You've been there. You're like, I'm burning cash with all the rent checks. I'm there all the time. I feel like it. It's frustrating, but here's the deal. Built Rewards has figured out a way to make rent more rewarding. You say goodbye to the money bonfire and hello to a renter's revolution with Built. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the Built points roll in. You can use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built points have consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent now when you go to joinbuilt.com/bigthing. That's joinbuilt, BILT.com/bigthing. And make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/bigthing to start earning points with your rent payments today. All right. Now, before we move on, one last thing to tell you about tonight, and this is, at this point, please listen to me here. I got to tell you about Rocket Money. Rocket Money, it's a personal finance app. It's a thing that it helps me with whether or not you are trying to cancel subscriptions that you had, and you don't even realize that you had them, and it is absolute lifesaver. It has gotten me so much more organized with everything that I use. I cannot shut up about Rocket Money. I get notifications on my phone all the time about what I should do, what I've been spending on, what stuff to cancel. It is so beneficial, and it is something that I believe should be in the same way that any other app is on your phone that we use every day. Rocket Money should be that app. So go to rocketmoney.com/thing. rocketmoney.com/thing. Start saving more money today. All right, guys. So we've got this story that hit on it was like, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember, but the Blade stuff. We've been discussing Blade on this show forever. It's almost Blade the movie is what Lucasfilm is as a company. Where it's like it's like, oh, it's gonna happen, just kidding. Oh, this is no, that's gonna happen. No, not gonna happen. Oh, there's a really cool story that somebody was working on but didn't happen. Well, they said they took it off the schedule, so everyone's like, oh, it's canceled. Well, it doesn't look like it's canceled. Well, at least that's the rumor. There's a new rumor that came out, and I'm going to tell you what that is, and that's that the new rumor may reveal why the movie was delayed, not scrapped, and the updates on Spider-Man and Midnight Suns. Here you go. Last night, we got the disappointing, though not expected, news that Marvel Studios had once again removed the Blade reboot from its slate, with the movie now delayed indefinitely. It's Mark Cassidy, by the way. Blade has been plagued by production woes ever since it was first announced over 4 years ago. Going through a number of directors and writers, when the latest filmmaker enlisted to helm the project, Jan DeMont, stepped away. It was widely speculated that the movie would ultimately be shelved, but we were assured that it was moving forward with Mahershala Ali attached to star as the Daywalker. Despite this latest setback, the Cosmic Circus Alex Perez believed that Blade has not been scrapped, and it was pushed back again because Marvel is prioritizing multiversal stories in the build-up to Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. And so this is the tweet from Alex P. The real reason why Blade isn't getting done is because the story is disconnected from the rest of the multiverse. Same goes for Armor Wars, Nova. It's not that they're not getting made. They're getting pushed to make room for multiversal stories. He has a whole arc set up with the Midnight Suns and the supernatural side of the MCU, DS2, WBN, Moon Knight, Agatha, Ironheart. They've only scratched the surface of what's coming. That's the only thing that's kept them attached. Okay. I will tell you that this rumor makes sense. What I will also say is, if this is the case, look, if this was us and we were throwing things against the wall and certain things weren't sticking, and one of our biggest talks that we've always talked about, guys, was that they weren't focusing enough. If they're gonna lean in on multiverse stuff, what's the story? What's happening in multiverse? And it seems like they're getting into that. And Blade is the one movie that it doesn't really work yet. So why not push it? But I will say this, Winston. If this is the case, I stand by what I said before the other day, which is I don't believe Mahershala Ali will be Blade. I think it'll be too late by the time it happens, but I do think they'll do it eventually. What do you think? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Wait a second. I don't know why that.
How about that?
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you
go. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think he might. He's probably going to still be in the movie, but I don't think he'll be Blade anymore. I think that it'll be a situation of.
You think he'll still be in the movie?
I think that they might have a conversation of like, yo, we messed up, bro. You trying to be Whistler or something like that. Like I can understand like trying to give him something else as an apology. Obviously they've had to have him cast. He's been on retainer, so there's no way that he hasn't been getting paid for this entire time. So at least there's that. But if there's some world where it's like, look, I did really want to do this, but we are all aware of the fact that like, hey man, we can't ask you to be in Blade shape for the next 10 years when you're already in what he's like 51, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
Like, and you probably have other things you want to do. Can we offer you another role as a consolation? And if not, at the very least, here's an EP credit. We're really sorry.
Maybe that. But I hope if they ask him to be in it, he tells them to scratch their ass. Because if he should say no. Now another role, bigger role in the MCU, but like Whistler or somebody else in that movie, I find it hard to believe that he would want to do that.
Only because I can see again. When did this get announced? Like 5 years ago,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That he was a different person. He was 46, hitting his full stride off of 2 Oscars. So
sure.
I understand. Like at the time, yeah, this ball's gonna get rolling the next year or two, and then we're 10 years. So he would be wrapping up around 56, 57. Versus just getting started at like 51, 52. And someone in the chat can correct me if I'm off about his age. I just know it's within that range. It just sits very differently. Like he didn't have an infinite clock here versus if you would like tapped him when he was 35. And it's like, sorry, we started at 40, but what, you know what I mean? So
sure. Coy, what do you feel about all this?
I think he's gonna likely end up in the spot where Scarlett Johansson is. Like, she's got a Thunderbolts producer credit because they screwed her over with Black Widow. Because it was supposed to get a theatrical release, and they were like, "But what if it just doesn't?" So I feel like this will kind of be that for him. I think it's unfortunate because I think Mahershala is so talented, but I don't see him playing Blade for more than a movie or two. So if they have him as Blade, it might be like a Blade movie, Midnight Suns, and then post Secret Wars, there's a new Blade. I really am just curious what they do as far as anyone being cast post Secret Wars. Like, I don't know if this is going to be a clean slate, like a crisis event in the comics, because then you could have him play Blade for 1 or 2 movies, and that might be a way to make everyone happy. But I just can't see a trilogy or anything that goes on. So they're in a unique position where they're right at a point where they could just scrap everything and start fresh, but I don't know if they will. I think there's a reason we haven't seen X-Men yet.
I think that when, there was the other thing that came out this week about that they had kind of locked in dates after Avengers. And I think it's like that's X-Men and Fantastic Four.
100%. The Fox era is going to be glorious. At this point, I'm wondering if they have that, they're in another universe, Fantastic Four. I'm wondering how that ties into everything post Secret Wars of that being a kind of a clean slate, like stuff over there.
The only other date or other movie that I could see landing in those times are Deadpool and Wolverine 2. They decided to do it. That could land there. Because Blade is a movie where you can say,
Doctor Strange 3 maybe.
That's another one. That's another one for sure. Absolutely. Doctor Strange is another movie that could land in that time. But
Thor 8 or whatever
they're probably I think but I think they're probably going to go with majority of it is starting off that X-Men stuff. Because Blade is a movie where, you can say, well, it hasn't really gotten canceled. The character hasn't gotten canceled. Of course, they're going to keep the character around. So it's like, it's going to change dramatically. In the same way that Daredevil didn't get canceled, but the show that they were going to do got annihilated, and they did a totally different one. So that's what's going to happen. So Blade will come out. I think it'll happen in, what's Avengers? Avengers is 2026 and 2027.
Because Thunderbolts is next year, then 2026 is Doomsday, 2027 is Secret Wars.
So 2028 we're looking at for Blade. 2029, Mahershala Ali is going to be nowhere near this movie.
What was the date? It was supposed to be next fall now.
Blade? I mean, there's so many different times. I think the most recent one was supposed to be the end of next year.
Okay, so the only other thing I could think of, if you're just talking about stuff that's been set up at this point, if there is a Young Avengers movie, that is one other thing that could have potentially taken that slot if they try to do something like that.
That'd be stupid. That would be stupid.
Then, there was one other one that was scratching at my brain. But those are the only ones is Doctor Strange 3.
Yeah, right.
Deadpool, Wolverine, and maybe a Young Avenger.
Well, I mean, it also depends on what they're going to do with Doctor Strange, because they're going to end the multiverse in 2027. So anything after that movie would assume be not attached to it anymore. So they have to, and you can still obviously do Doctor Strange outside of the multiverse. It's just a question of how they're going to do it. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be something that we're going to see sooner than later with Blade? Will Mahershala Ali actually be there, or we're looking in 2030 before we finally see Blade, which sounds crazy, but also realistic. There's another rumor, because we were talking about Agatha and talking about all this stuff. I didn't see the most recent one, but there's a new rumor that's out there. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but the rumor is that Marvel Studios is developing a Wiccan series along with Young Avengers and Scarlet Witch, which Winston just mentioned, which I think is so silly to try to do Young Avengers right now. Agatha all along has been a pretty big success for Marvel so far, which is at least partially due to the fact that she's the least expensive Disney Plus series, and it seems the studio is pleased enough with the show's viewership that plans are in place to continue these characters' journeys across several different projects. Agatha, spinoff of WandaVision, introduced a mysterious teen, Joe Locke, who recently confirmed to be Wanda Maximoff's son, Billy Kaplan. Now, My Time to Shine Hello is reporting that Wiccan solo show is in the works, which Marvel will develop alongside the Scarlet Witch movie with a Young Avengers project. We still don't know if that'll be a movie or another Disney Plus series. Daniel Rickman recently claimed that the series focusing on the search for the Scarlet Witch's other son, Tommy Maximoff, a.k.a. Speed, was on the cards, so we'd say there's a good chance these projects are one and the same. There's already a Vision series in the work, and a recent rumor claimed that Euphoria breakout Javon Walton is talks to play a second teen, who will presumably turn out to be Tommy. Do we really need another series focusing on these characters? Facts. To be fair, a lot of people said the same thing about Agatha, and while some fans remain far from won over, the 7 episodes we've seen to have silenced a lot of doubters. Okay, let's just start there. If this is the case, Winston, I do ask why.
Why?
Because like you have this whole thing where the series, like I said, I'm watching, I'm enjoying it. It's not doing gangbuster ratings. I mean, it's doing good for what it is, and like they said, it's cheaper to do. Why spin off of Wanda to you start with Wanda to Vision to Agatha to a series about these kids? Move on. Let's go somewhere else. Put him. I think the kid's great. I think Joe Locke is awesome. I think he's great. Put him in a movie. Let him show up in something else and do it. Why are we doing another series about the teens? Unless they or do Agatha season 2. What do you think?
I would have hoped that the Young Avengers would have gotten a movie over a series, but I think I can see what they're trying to do potentially is maybe a series of assembling the team and then a movie to round it out. I like, with the exception of, I think, Stature. I don't think anybody had to correct me if I'm wrong. They may not have liked all of the various shows or movies, but I don't think anybody's had any beef with any of these young heroes. If anything, they've been like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. Like, you may not have liked the Marvels, but everybody like universally has said how incredible Miss Marvel is, how good Iman
She's
Vellani
great.
is. You know, same thing you said about Kate Bishop and Haley Steinfeld. We didn't get to see a lot of Elijah in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I'm sure more of that will be coming soon. So like, none of these young actors and what they've put forth have people had issues with. It's typically just been the projects that they have maybe been associated with. So why not? If you like all of these actors and you like all these characters, why not do that? But again, I would have preferred a film, but maybe that's it. Maybe your Young Avengers Assemble is a series leading into a movie.
Well, this is the argument that I make, Coy. I will respectfully disagree with Winston that this should be a movie. I think you're asking for potential box office failure if you're going to be, because they're not going to make this movie for $50-60 million. They're going to try to make it for $200 million. If you try to get some popularity on a series first, then lead to them putting them into movies, sure, but just putting them in because you want to do a Young Avengers movie. Yes, they're likable, but nobody's asking for these characters to have their own movie. It's not a smart business move, but I don't know. I could be on the total wrong here. Those are my initial thoughts.
I think it's a really interesting thing right now where I have no connection to Gen Z at all.
Mhm.
I could see these characters being enormous to that population, but I just don't know. And I'm sure most of this audience is like middle-aged white dudes too. So like,
It's
I
actually
just don't
not
know.
true. Our demographic is actually not true. I found that.
Is
out
it
recently.
like
Pretty
under
balanced?
20?
Yeah, we have a lot.
Okay,
we have a lot
so
of younger.
audience, I would love, like, I would literally love to know what like the finger on the pulse is, because I see more young people dressed as like Wiccan and Hulkling and
Mhm.
Scarlet Witch than I do the characters we associate with, because 10 years ago was the phase 2 that we came into. So people that are teenagers now, Iron Man's an old character, Thor's an old character. Like, to them, that's older movies. Like 2008 was when they were in high school or younger, if they're, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like Gen Z is maybe this is for them. And so, I mean, people got so mad at me when I didn't like the Wiccan episode, because I didn't connect as much to Joe Locke, and I didn't really fall, like, I like the show now because I loved episode 7, the most recent episode, but it took Patty LaPone's character to be an eye line for me to really understand where I would fit into this, like, reality. Like,
Sure.
her mental illness stuff and her I'm not going to spoil anything, but like the stuff you've seen with the gaps was explained so beautifully in episode 7 that I'm suddenly like, oh, I'm interested, but I wasn't really all that invested until this episode because I don't connect to those characters. So I'm probably like missing
Coy,
what they like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, I mean, that's so interesting because again, I've been on this ride the whole time. Like, for me, the only I needed to have something happen to funnel back was I understood what they were doing with like Agnes of Easttown and all that, but it wasn't until we got the re-up from episode 6 that I was like, I have actually a lot more appreciation for that first episode, but I still like the show since episode 2 on. But I mean, I agree with you, Coy, in the sense that we may not be directly connected to Gen Z in that regard, but I know and I've heard and I've seen myself more connection to, say, Joe Locke's character and stuff like that, and the impending of potentially Hulkling if that's happening, because like my twin nieces, they're sophomore. Oh my God, they're juniors in college. But I had kind of introduced them a little bit to some nerd stuff, and I have seen them talk about the show and stuff like that, just from the standpoint of like being their age, the fact that, you know, the character is queer. Like there's a lot of just little things here and there that just like speak to my nieces, for example, and they're not huge nerds, but enough to.
Well, you just said it though. But you just said it though. Being interested is one thing. Being interested is one thing, and saying and if it comes on TV, checking it out. Being interested enough to spend your money and go out and see it in the theater is a different thing. And I don't know how much the younger generation, in the same way that the younger generation at a time locked on to the Marvel movies more so than they locked on to the Star Wars movies, right? Like Marvel had overplaced at one point. And I don't think like there's like my daughter was into Marvel for a little bit because I showed it to her. She couldn't give a crap about it anymore, and a lot of her friends don't care about it, and so you've got to be able to get a wide audience to want to go see it if you're going to spend that kind of money. And I just don't think Young Avengers is something they should spend money on. I think it's a disaster.
Go ahead, Corey.
And I'm not saying that like my demo isn't enjoying the show. I'm only speaking to that demo might be enjoying it more, so it might do well. But I also don't know.
They're not buying tickets. They're on TikTok.
That's the thing, is like I know more young people are excited about YouTubers than movie stars.
Yes,
and that's a shift that I don't know if is going to translate to a Young Avengers movie.
That was my point. That was my point of what I was trying to say, Corey. Thank you.
I mean, to that point, that was part of, again, why I was pissed off at Venom, because you had kids that went there, but they spent that time in the movie literally looking at TikToks and talking instead of watching the movie. So if that is what you're getting at in that regard, I mean, they still came to the movie. They still bought a ticket to the movie. Whether or not they paid attention to it is a different conversation. But
look at Venom. So Venom you got, but the difference with that is, let's take your example that those kids who were talking, even though it's annoying, they bought tickets to the movie, right? But they're not the only ones who want to see that movie. You got the Coys that want to see that movie. You got other people who want to see that movie. You got people who like Tom Hardy that want to see that movie. You got a lot of people that you're throwing the net at that you can catch. Who are you throwing the net at with a Young Avengers movie? Because if you don't even get Coy very excited about it, Coy's excited about 95% of comic book movies. Coy is excited about it. If he's like, I don't know, that's a problem. That's a problem.
I don't disagree with that, but I think that might be the exact reason why, if you're going to do a Young Avengers movie, which I don't think is a problem, I would say it makes sense, hence back to the original topic. Let's go at this from a series first, and like a Young Avengers Assemble like show that turns into a movie as a follow-up, because then that's your opportunity to convince Coy and everything else, let alone by having those sound bites and whatnot from the show to put on TikTok and make all sorts of, like, that is the era in which you get people to do that stuff, is you are seeing this sound is being used over and over again. And then that's something that makes somebody want to see, well, where does it originally come from? And it kind of funnels you into that. So I can very much see that is what this is about to be, because again, the same way that I've seen like my nieces with Joe Locke, for as much as y'all didn't like the Marvels, the number of people that I know in the younger generation that straight up, they love Iman Vellani. They love Haley Steinfeld and what they did. Sure. I think that might be more.
But Winston, that movie ate shit. That's the whole point. Like, it doesn't matter if they liked it or not. The movie, they spent almost $400 million. It ate shit.
You're not listening to me. I'm saying you're taking the element of the movie that universally everybody agreed was actually good.
And you're right, but you're putting
agreed on was Iman Vellani. So now if you're saying, fine, shed this, shed the rest of this, and to focus on her, to look at Haley as somebody that they really were enjoying. So you shed Hawkeye and the rest of that, but you focus on her, and you're pulling those elements that work and putting them.
But
together.
How much do you spend on that movie is the question. Do you?
That's why you do a series first.
Sure,
but then you're talking about 5 years from now, and then the Young Avengers are in their 30s.
That's right. That's the problem. And
I like the Young Avengers in the comics, but I think it's one of those things that I personally haven't found a connection to in this round of them, just because I don't know these actors. I don't connect to the characters as much as the ones we've grown up with for 15 years. I'm like, trying to. So it shows a good idea as far as like getting that connection built.
Yeah.
But as far as what we've seen from them so far, I wouldn't be as excited to see that as I would be the things we've grown up with for 15 years. And I don't know if the people that are as connected to them are the people that go to the movie theater, because the people that are connecting to them as strongly as I had connected to Iron Man are the audience that I don't know if they care.
Because to your point, Winston, was that because she was so good in that movie, and she was the one thing everyone loved. You give her a movie, and then people will want to see it depending on what it is. Well, we did that. There was a series that she was on with Ms. Marvel that she was fantastic on. Everyone loved her on it. The show didn't do great in the ratings, did fine. Then they put her in a movie. They said the same thing. She's great in it, but it didn't bring box office. So I think that's where the movie, I think we all agree that it would do a lot better if they did. I think television movie, much better idea for them for sure. And
I would also love to see a special edition like they did with Werewolf by Night. I'd love a Young Avengers, like, you can make something very exciting to air. I just worry about the cost and the deficit while Marvel's so precarious.
Because they're not going to spend, because that's the problem with them. I mean, there was some stupid movie. Oh, the freaking the Dwayne Johnson Christmas movie that's coming out. I shouldn't say stupid. I haven't seen it yet, but the movie cost, it's like $250 million or something.
Why is it $200 million?
Something like that. And I'll tell you why, Winston. Because they probably paid Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans like $20 million a piece. They probably paid producer fees, and they probably gave J.K. Simmons a producer fee. They probably gave all these people. You're probably spending close to $100 million in producer fees and actor costs and all that before you even call action once. And that's the kind of stuff, that Young Avengers, we're going to do a Young Avengers movie. It's Marvel, because here's the problem. The agent gets on the phone and goes, wait, you guys are doing a Young Avengers movie? Well, the first Avengers is this, and my client wants this, and they want this. Oh, we got to make sure that we have this kind of waiver that costs this kind of money, and the plane must do this. And the next thing you know, it's $50 million, and they haven't even called action. That's the problem with these. And you can't do a movie you're not sure about, and that's why they're leading in to the multiverse saga, and I think rightfully so. A movie that will do well is Spider-Man 4. We know that. And it'll be the last story that we're going to talk about before we get to your questions. And we didn't really get a chance to dive into Spider-Man 4. There's so much that was going on. There was the fact that we heard that Tom Holland read a script, and he said it was close. And then we heard that they were still pushing back on Sony a little bit more because they wanted more of the street level stuff. And then there was like, nope, we're getting going. We're going to start shooting next year. And now Tom Holland's talking again. I feel like every update is coming from Tom Holland. He says the movie is crazy and it's different to anything that we've done before. Spider-Man 4, Tom Holland has talked about plans for the upcoming movie, revealing it's something completely different to Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. While Spider-Man 4 now confirmed to be in the works at Marvel Studios and Sony, all eyes are on what sort of story they're going to tell. The movie is coming out between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, makes a multiversal adventure likely, lending weight to the rumors that Tom Holland's Peter Parker will finally meet Tom Hardy's Venom. I'm Venom! All I can tell you is that it is happening. Holland said today on Good Morning America while discussing his new non-alcoholic beer, Barrow. Revealing that they've spent quite a bit of time working on the movie's concept, he said everyone involved now feels strong enough to go ahead, and reiterated that shooting will begin next summer. He said the idea is crazy. It's a little different to anything we've done before, but I think the fans are really going to respond to it. Holland also talked more about the Iron Man actor Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doom, saying he's delighted by the news. The two are expected to share a lot of screen time in Avengers Doomsday. What's the crazy idea Holland is referring to? We can't imagine it's a street-level adventure featuring the Kingpin, though that would be different to the Wallcrawler's previous movies. Once again, a multiverse story feels like the strongest possibility. Coy, start with you. What the hell could this mean?
I wonder if it's King in Black related, because I feel like if we've got a multiverse of symbiotes, it might call for Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, which would be a different kind of multiversal. Maybe instead of them coming to his universe, he jumps around universes. I could see that being the way they do the multiverse. So it's more popping around with him and the Spider-Man, and that would be like more of a live action Spider-Verse film effectively. That said, this is more of the thing that I'm confident in no matter what. I think as much as we were just worried about Young Avengers, I do think the anchor beings of X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, Marvel's just getting started as far as that stuff's concerned. As far as X-Men about to come to play, Fantastic Four is tracking to wrap early as opposed to late, and their test audiences are loving it. Spider-Man, I want grounded, but if that's not going to happen, they are putting themselves in a position to make some creative choices. So I think the corner of Marvel that's always been their A-list is in great shape. When Marvel started cinematically, they had to use their B, C, and D-list characters because they'd sold away all the A-list characters. Marvel is just now getting their A-listers back, and the Spider-Man story is a testament to now's the good stuff as far as like it'll make a Billy. So X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, like this is where Marvel can take some risks. But to parallel our last story, they got to be careful still because they're on like kind of not trusted ground with the audience anymore.
Winston, you got any opinions of what it could be? People are talking about Null and seeing if that was, I'll tell you what, I did not like the way that he looked at all in that movie. He looked so CGI and so ridiculous. It looked like one of Thanos's henchmen. It looked terrible.
He didn't look all that great. But yes, I think that the writing is way too on the wall, especially once you see Venom 3, that's exactly what's about to happen. I'm not anti doing that. I think that'll be very interesting. I just needed time. I think that's what's bothering me is I just wanted time and we could get there. But again, the problem is Sony is on their own clock. They don't really give a shit about the clock that we're on with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like clearly, because if they did, they would have seen how do you set up the end of that film to be like, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna be a friendly neighborhood. Nah. You swinging your ass directly into Noel's face. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I have faith.
So you think Noel's going to be the Spider-Man villain though?
I think that is going to be I think that it'll be Venom fighting Spider-Man, which kind of immediately draws itself into dealing with Noel.
I don't want to get spoilers.
I just hate that it makes the No Way Home ending null and void.
Yeah, it does.
Literally, the king in black, like you said,
Yeah.
you just straight to the void, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. But the fact that we're getting Spider-Man movie is smart to maneuver and get everybody excited about it. Because they'll probably have something to do with Downey in that movie at some point to set it up as it's in between before we get to the Avengers. So what do you guys think? Put your comments in there. Let us know. Okay, we're going to get to your questions. Before we do, I want to talk to my buddies, both Coy and Winston. And Winston, what are you working on right now? What's going on the channel?
Yeah, no, you can definitely come out. I'm going to have a blurred breakdown coming out later today. I'm excited about this one, man. People apparently, as sick and twisted as this SOB Diddy is, people have really been enjoying the Diddy or Didn't segment. So I'll be covering some more news on that, as well as some other things that have been popping off in the pop culture space. I've got to spill the tequila this afternoon/evening with Roca over on his channel as well. So check all that out. And then, as I mentioned, I can talk about it. I've been putting it on social media for covering for Kristian. I went up to Skywalker Ranch and ILM and did some interviews with the creators of Ultraman Rising over on Netflix. So that will be over on this channel once we get the footage and have all that. So a lot of good stuff coming up.
Coy?
You can find me at Koijandro on YouTube as well. I just posted my Agatha last night, review of episode 7, which is finally one that I went, oh, this is what people see. And now yes, thank you for bringing me in. I feel like I like this show. So check out my episode 7 review. I dropped this morning, about an hour and a half ago, my Venom full spoiler review. My non-spoiler leaned in more positive because a lot of the stuff that I couldn't talk about were my negatives. So my spoiler review is more of my contextualizing of the things that didn't work for me. Still gave it a 3 out of 5, still had fun, but you can get the negatives in that spoiler review that just dropped this morning. This afternoon, I'll be doing a live stream about New York Comic Con, about last week's comics. I'm catching up from last week, as well as the Craven stuff I saw there and all the news and the comics themselves. And then Sunday, Penguin episode 6, and then repeat. So all of that over on my page. Every week I'm trying to cover the comics and the shows and the movies and all that jazz. And I miss sleep, but I love connecting with you.
Well, yeah, same here. And that's why I'm glad we connect with you guys. You guys put your questions in there, and we are going to answer all of them right now. So we're here. That's the way that it works for people who are joining for the first time, is that we go through all the news stories, and then you guys put questions in through, and then you guys basically create a second show for the second hour with all the different questions that you're putting in there. So, guys, you're at 45. So you got to hit around 60 more in order to beat, Steph and Brett. I think it's possible. Who we bullshitting? Steph. So let's get to the beginning of the first couple of questions. There was, by the way, someone just posted that they just announced the Spider-Man release date. It's July of 2026.
Before we get to answers, I do want to acknowledge I'm so happy for Tom Holland because he's getting to do the business venture he wants to do, and he's getting all the exclusives of releasing these dates. Like you said, most of the press has come from him.
Yeah.
I love that as a producer, Tom Holland's like, hey, I've got a business venture. I'm going to give the first bit of news, and it's going to get all of the articles ever.
Yeah.
And it's tied to a non-alcoholic beer for the kid. I'm happy for him.
Very smart. Mirror Domains. Will Null impact the MCU or the Sonyverse? Is he strong? Well, we kind of just discussed that, right? And Winston's pretty convinced. I mean, the only thing I like about it is that it's Andy Serkis. That's the only thing I like about it. I was not impressed with the character at all. He just sat there, don't do this, tied to a chair.
It's Thanos and Guardians. Remember, like that before it was the fine, I'll do it myself. Then it's talking to Ronan, and you really don't have a chance to really know who this person is quite yet.
Yeah, to quote the great George St. Pierre, I was not impressed by your performance. Let's go to the next question here, which is from, I believe it's from the great Shay. No, and it's not. It's Armada. Mentioning favorite albums and Wu-Tang, Kristian, don't sleep on Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon. It's an amazing album. So we were going over some of the top hip hop albums of all time the other day. 4 of them. Screwface John was in here and he asked, and I had on from Low End Theory. I had on, I said Wu-Tang. I talked about Liquid Swords is one of my favorites for sure. For Jizza. Yeah. I love that album. I was listening to it recently. But yeah, Winston, do you have any? Because you weren't part of it. And Corey, same thing, you're a hip hop head also. So which ones? Give me 2 each.
2. All right. I'll probably say I'll throw Get Rich or Die Trying in there. I think that it just there was something just very particular about that album that was crazy. And then I people love to say Pimp a Butterfly or Damn, but I actually always go Good Kid, Mad City.
Okay.
Like I think that is an absolute masterpiece, both in storytelling, let alone in music. It's phenomenal.
Corey.
Choose hard. I'll go 1 East, 1 West, to be fair. West, I got to go All Eyes on Me. I think Tupac is the greatest storyteller, poet in the history of hip hop. And I also think my personal favorite is the, like, his second album, Tupacalypse Now, is my favorite to listen to, but All Eyes on Me is, I think, the greatest culmination of his work. So All Eyes on Me for the West Coast. And then East Coast, I think the person that brought, like, boom bap meets lyricism meets the poetry of actually living through adversity, not just like making it up for, accolades, is Nas with Illmatic. I think Illmatic really like elevated the East Coast sound. So All Eyes on Me and Illmatic.
You know what? I got to make a slight adjustment. I'm gonna Good Kid, sorry. Get Rich or Die Trying is still fantastic, but who am I to not include a Southern album? The fact that you're doing regional, so I'll get rid of Get Rich or Die Trying. And I'm actually going to probably throw Riding Dirty from UGK on there, man.
Let's go. Okay, next one is from Ewok. I love Star Wars, but Lucasfilm is stubbornly refusing to read the tea leaves, unlike DC and Marvel, who are both wisely course correcting. I couldn't agree more. I think that's the thing, is that you look at DC, you can say whatever you want about the movies in the past. Enough to go, okay, it wasn't working. We're going to do something new now. We're bringing in these new guys, and we have a plan, and we know what we're going to do. Marvel, as we mentioned Daredevil before, wasn't working. Let's reset. Other things that we tried wasn't working. Let's move towards a multiverse thing and tell this story that we told. Star Wars, everything's good. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like every single time. It's like, it's crazy. I don't know. Good, Clay.
I agree, and I also think it's really hard for Star Wars fans, and I think that's part of the animosity. Is I feel like there's more weight on each property, so when they don't like it, there's so much built up pressure and rage. Like with Marvel, if you don't like a thing, you've got 4 or 5 months until the next thing. You guys haven't had a movie in 6 years, and about 50% of the shows are hitting. So I think a lot of that internet culture with rage is based on the choices.
Yeah, it's a sports team. It's Winston's analogy before with the sports team. It's like they have the players, and they're like, oh well, they have a home run hitter. Is he where's he in the lineup? Oh, he's not playing this game. What? It's like, oh, they're gonna bring in a guy who pitched 9 innings yesterday, and they're gonna have him pitch again. Why is it? And he lets up a home run in the first inning. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, what are you doing?
Has it really been 6 years?
And it'll be a
since-
lot longer than that before a movie comes out. Even if by the time 2026 comes out, it'll be 7 years.
Yeah, it'll be 6 years and 2 months. So I just rounded up.
Yeah,
That's
it's insane.
for 2019. Holy crap! December of 2019.
I know.
Holy
Okay, so
crap.
it's 5 years next month or in a month.
Yeah, in a month. Yeah,
Because I was working at Collider.
yeah. No, I went to. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I just been on my own for like a month or two. I hadn't even signed with Skybound yet.
Right.
I didn't even
Long
sign
time
with-
ago.
long time ago. So all
I
right.
can't believe that was that
It
long.
was long ago. Armada. Rank these 3 albums: The Chronic, Doggy Style, and 2001, The Chronic. Also, cool to hear Dr. Dre and Snoop are making a sequel to Doggy Style called Missionary.
That's awesome. Most people would probably say Chronic.
Yeah, me too.
Doggy Style 2001. I would say 2001 Chronic Doggy Style, but that's just because of 2001. The Chronic was the first. I had heard Dre songs, but that was the first Dre like album, even an NWA album or the Chronic album that I had heard. So it just I will never forget. Forgot about Dre. I'll never forget the next episode, like all of that, and all these,
great.
and all these, and here's somebody here going. That's just
It's really good. It's a great album.
I love The Chronic, but I'm going 2001 Doggy Style The Chronic, and not out of anything except for my appreciation for like when I first heard Snoop, it was like, whoa, this is a different sound. And then 2001, like Winston said it, I grew up on it.
Ewok. On the hot mic, Jeff Snyder said that Disney could have delayed Blade to distance it from Coogler's Sinners and Nolan's next film with Tom Holland. Well, the only pushback against that is that the Spider-Man movie has been slated a week before the Nolan movie comes out. So there's kind of one pushback there.
Summer of Holland.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Which is also rumored to be about vampires, by the way, this Nolan movie. So
we're back in the era, man.
I know we're back in there, which is fine. Which is fine. So let's get some other stuff out there. But it's also getting Blade away from the vampire stuff is probably true also, though. So Mike Joyce. Matthew Lillard was a fantastic interview. Thanks, Mike. Stu Lives. It was great. And I'm so glad. You know what I realized, though, too, and I'll put out an interview, and they'll do fine. I saw somebody the other day who's like, I don't watch this channel for interviews. And good, thanks for letting me know. But it's like, but what I have realized is that the Eclipse channel, like I did an interview. This is what's hilarious about this. I did an interview with Mark Paul Gosselaar the other day, and I talked. Thank you, Winston. So I talked to him about Saved by the Bell, and I put a clip out about the fight, and I knew that it was going to do well. The interview, I think, did a little over 10,000, right? I put that clip out. It is now at 245,000 views, the clip out itself.
Wow.
So it's like that Clips channel, if you guys are interested in who I have on the show, I would tell you to go subscribe to that Clips channel because you can see the clips that we have. I'm going to put a whole bunch of them out there. I got a bunch of the Billy Magnuson stuff coming. Got a bunch of a lot of the interviews that I had. I think I'm probably going to put out the Renzi clip about Miles Morales early before I even put the interview out. So check that out. Shay Markel. Yesterday's interview was great, brother. Thank you, Shay. The last story about how he landed his role in Descendants is proof that your best effort is always worth it. I highly encourage, and I'm going to clip that out. I highly encourage anybody, whether you're a host, whether you're an actor, listen to that speech on how he got the Descendants. It is one of the most inspiring stories I have heard in a very long time. To which Shay follows up and says, Kristen Miliotti's speaking voice is nothing like Sophia's. A woman is a gem. I am looking forward to seeing her land some more roles. It's funny because Renzi actually talked about that at the end, where he talked about how when she was cast, he's like, interesting. I really like Palm Springs, but I wonder how, because he had said he read the script. He's like, I wonder how what she's gonna do. And he goes, and then she started talking. And he was like, wow. He was just blown away. Yeah, he was blown away. Shay Markel, I'm probably doing too much, but I fan cast Kristen Miliotti as Bellatrix Lestrange in HBO Harry Potter. That's a good casting. I think she's gonna be. I think her star's really rising right now. If you remember the character thoughts, I think it's good casting. I just don't. I think depending on how layered the character is going to be, and she doesn't show up for quite a while, I think Kristen Milioti is going to be in a different stratosphere at that point.
I think Miliotti's going to be everywhere the next few years, and I think that they usually cast only British actors for Harry Potter. So,
yep. Koya, my man. This is from Shay. I've asked everyone else. Now I have to ask you, sir. Did you get to read Absolute Batman? Christian is the only one to not let me down because I have it. I actually have it.
I read it day one. I really enjoyed it. I did 2 videos about it. I really think that it is an interesting take that goes. There's 2 ways to tell an ultimate story. There's finding the core of the character and trying to rebuild with familiar elements, or there's trying to find a very extreme version of the character that still looks familiar. One is very Brian Michael Bendis, like Ultimate Spider-Man. One is very Mark Miller, like Ultimates. I was expecting the Bendis. They went the Miller, and that surprised me, but I'm really enjoying it. So at first I was like, what is this? But then once I got into it, once I found out what they were doing, I really think it's a smart move. I can't wait. I haven't read Ultimate Wonder Woman yet, but I'm reading that today.
All right. This is the next one here, which is Swan King. If it is safe to assume Supergirl will appear in Superman Legacy, it is also safe to assume another Bat family member will be in the Brave and the Bold other than Damian, Nightwing, Dylan O'Brien cast. Well, I mean, I think it was announced that she's going to be in it, so I think it's less than about assuming. I think it was actually announced. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that she's going to be in like a post-credit scene, or she's going to be in it something, right?
I would assume so.
I thought it was announced, but the other part of it, I'll let you guys answer. Is it safe to assume that another Bat family member will be in the Brave and the Bold? You guys think so? Definitely.
100%. I think Nightwing is long overdue. I think they're setting up a Titans movie, which means we're getting Nightwing. I think Dylan O'Brien is fantastic. I've wanted that for a very long time, so I agree with all of the things in this question.
Okay, Robert. Okay, Winston.
No, it also would be extremely. It would be not only disrespectful to completely ignore Dick, Jason, and Tim, since the only live action Robin we've had was Chris O'Donnell as Dick, and we really didn't get to truly see nuance to that character, in my opinion, just because of how those went. I love Damian. The riot would start if you do not get a true Dick as like a Nightwing before you even get to that. Like he has to be there somewhere, and I think maybe that's where the dynamic duo idea might be coming into.
Yeah, I think the dynamic duo is a way to draw it out. I think it's very important to get that true Dick, but also I think
I knew that was coming.
But I also think it's important to establish the Bat family before Damian, so that he is like he has to feel more like a rebellious character as opposed to the Robins that are already established. So I think we're going to get a good bit of canon, and people want that story. And it would be really horrible if they like killed Robin off camera and maybe killed Jimmy Olsen too, and it wouldn't feel like the universe we know and love.
Right. All right. Next one. Robert Terry. I wish Lucasfilm would go back to their initial model. An episode 1 year, then one off the next. Solo drove a wrench into that. Get to episode 10 already. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think that it's just there's just no plan. Like that's going back to what we said before when you use Marvel and DC as the examples. Look at House of the Dragon. Look at Game of Thrones. They have a plan right now. They know where they want to go back and forth and where they're lining up to. They don't know where they're going. It's like someone comes in because you guys said it beforehand when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy. She was a great producer in the era when movies were made the way that they were when she was a great producer. She right now is not paying attention to a great director comes in with a great pitch and then we can do it. You're running a big IP that connects to everything. You got to have a plan. You got to have a vision of where it's going, and there is none of that. So it's like, well, maybe we'll start to do that, and then they've done this 1,000 times, but the last one was this. Look, there's not doing a timeline per se, but there's some stuff that'll land in the Old Republic. There's some stuff that'll land in the New Republic. There's some stuff in the new Jedi Order and this. Yay! And it's like, well, when is that coming out? We don't know. And it's like, what are you doing? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Mike Joyce. I will say this, though. Last thing about that. It is no longer, and I think that it is no longer where we can say, I can't believe it. Kathleen Kennedy and the rest of you, how are you doing that? This now is going, Bob Iger, what are you doing? What are you doing that you are still allowing this to happen? This cannot be a Kathleen Kennedy, regime of Lucasfilm anymore, because you are letting this happen. You can say tomorrow, no more. We want new people now. We're bringing in good shot, guys. It's been 7 years. We paid $4 billion for this. We want movies now. Pack your bags. We'll see you later. What are you doing? This is now Bob Iger's fault. So there you go. Okay. So now we go to Mike Joyce. Coy, I love Hereditary. Tony Collette for Spider-Man?
for Spider-Man himself.
I don't know. Yeah.
I watched Hereditary for the first time over at Rejects, and it affected me. It
Did
scarred me. It was so much.
I've never
dude.
seen
it. Was so. I could don't. I mean, do but don't.
I don't want to say.
Yeah, I think Toni Collette's an incredible talent. I'd love to see her somewhere in a superhero thing, just because I love her.
Yeah.
But that movie, like, I got my horror fix for the month of Halloween with that one.
Yeah. Bobby Jackson. I'll definitely watch along if you do one for Superman and Lois. Easily the best portrayals of these characters since Reeve and Kidder for me. Everyone says that. So the reason I say that, or Bobby writes that, is because I was considering, I've never seen it, so I was considering watching episode 1, seeing if everybody gave a crap, and if they did, I'd keep watching it, but if not, I mean, I'd probably watch it anyway, but doing reactions to it, so might do it. I don't know. Roygu Chrome X. Hey, I love the show. Thank you. Koi, I just started reading comics because of your videos, and I would love to know how you prefer reading the new issues that release, physical or digital. Love y'all.
Thank you. That is the highest honor, is getting people to read comics. Thank you. I personally prefer physical. I read like 60 to 70 comics a week, though, so I have to read some digitally because I live in LA, so I don't have a farm or mansion to fill them. But I read as many physical as I can, and then I get sent digital from some of the studios for this books that I don't actually collect. But if it's Spider-Man, X-Men, Deadpool, now the Absolute Line, or Batman, I have them in hand. So prefer to hold them because I think it's more of the way it feels like reading. But digital is fine.
Okay. Next one is from Roman Fedorak. Hey, all. I hope your day is treating you well. Thank you, Roman. Man, when I saw your title, I did the biggest facepalm. What on earth is going on over there? You and me both. I'm telling you, it's like, I feel like, you remember Major League, right? The first movie, Major League? It's like the beginning of that movie where all the fans are just like, these guys don't look too effing good. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's Koi said it best. Being a Star Wars fan is like right now. It's like rooting for the team that's in last place.
Bro, being a Star Wars fan is
it's like being a Giants fan.
I was gonna. You could say that too. I was gonna say it's like being a Cowboys fan because just in the sense that it's like you're telling me how much talent, and there's no reason you shouldn't be at the top of the pile, and yet you continue to just embarrass us. And instead of making the very simple changes that would solve problems, you just keep going on this path. And you're driving me crazy.
Nothing's wrong. It's everybody else's fault, not us. Roman Fedorak, what are some films from this year that you guys think don't get the attention they deserve? One for me is The Dead Don't Hurt, a great Western from Aragorn himself. I didn't know that one. I mean, the smaller ones, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you, Transformers 1 is a movie that I don't think enough people saw, and it didn't do very well because the trailer was so atrocious. But that's the one that I would say that people slept on.
I'll mirror your Transformers one. I want to add two. Strange Darling is a genius psychological thriller that plays with the chronology the best I've seen since Tarantino started making it like a film trope. Absolutely fascinating look at how you perceive things. Like it makes you judge your assumptions. And then the second one is Kneecap, which is in Ireland. The Irish language is not, or wasn't until 2022, the national language of Ireland. Like Irish, because in part of this rap group that raps in Irish, became the nationally recognized language of Ireland. So it's a film about what your culture means to you, what it is to stand up for your culture, not letting colonizers tell you what to do, not letting the people that are in power like stand up against your culture. And it's all about hip hop. So the underdog element of hip hop that Americans identify with is this beautiful universal language that is the oppressed, and how lyricism and wordplay and all that comes to play. But to see that from Ireland and to see that from the Irish and using the Irish language to get that message out. And then it also has Michael Fassbender speaking Irish, which is a beautiful sound. And the Irish band members play themselves. They are playing themselves 5 years ago and keep up with Michael Fassbender acting wise. And these guys just played Glastonbury like last year. Yeah. So incredible music, incredible acting, really beautiful story.
El Baba Yaga. How would Arnold?
Oh, all right, cool.
What?
He didn't give his.
I didn't get to say anything.
All right. Which one? Oh, for which one? Oh, for the one this year?
The movies. Yeah. The two that I would say, one would be Babes. Everybody knows that I'm a big comedy dude. I think that was a fantastic comedy film. Definitely check that one out. And then the other one I would say, and not trying to be biased after having just gone to San Francisco, but honestly, Ultraman Rising is fantastic, and I would highly recommend people check it out.
I do want to check that one out. We'll see that. We'll see the footage pretty soon. El Baba Yaga. How would Arnold call a judge home run? Let's see. Well, here you go. He's getting to the plate. He's not been hitting very well. He was very good in the offseason. He's standing there, staring at he's looking at the pitcher. Oh, no. Yes, up in the ground. Let's see. You can put a little more in the back muscle there there he is. You put it in the arm. Oh, wait. There's a shot. Look at that. It's out there. It is going. This is gone. Home run. Look at that. Oh, very fantastic. Good job. Nice. Wonderful. Good. Yankees win, and the Rangers are still out of the playoffs. All right, so...
Got a title in the last year. I don't know if you'll say the same about yourself. Go ahead.
The American League champions. How about that? Roman Fedorak. Speaking of, how many titles do the Rangers have? One?
It doesn't matter. Who's
Yes, it does.
relevant right now?
Yankees.
Who's relevant right now?
The Yankees. They're in the World Series.
If they have to win it.
No. Wait a minute.
They have to finish.
No, that is everyone in the chat will agree that what you just said is who's relevant now.
No, I understand
the
that.
team that's not in the playoffs or the team in the World Series.
What I mean by that specifically, who has won a World Series recently?
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
So there you go. I've corrected myself. There you go. It's not a tweet. All right. Jesus Christ.
Roman Fedorak. Speaking of Westerns, Coy, love the reaction you did to Unforgiven. That's a great movie. You had never seen that before?
I had never seen it, dude. It was incredible.
It's great. That's in my top 10 of all time and my favorite Western. Your analysis and commentary made me love it even more. Thanks. And to which he follows, what's you guys' favorite Westerns? I think, Tombstone's up there for sure. It's a great one. Yeah. Winston, you got a favorite Western?
Gran Torino doesn't count, right? It has it's Western inspired kind of, but it's not really a Western. I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of them.
You got to watch Tombstone. You ever seen Tombstone?
No.
Oh,
dude, discover Val Kilmer's maybe best work, which is saying a lot.
It's really good.
And if not Tombstone, True Grit's both True Grits are great, but I think Tombstone.
Yeah. Bobby Jackson. If Kathleen Kennedy is waiting for a hit so she can go out on top, then I think she'll be sticking around Lucasfilm for a while. I don't know if that's true, though, Bobby. I think because I do think Jon Favreau is a great filmmaker. I think Jon Favreau is going to make the first movie that actually feels like the old trilogy in Mandalorian and Grogu. I think that they're going to put some power behind it. I think that they know how much they're going to need a hit there, and I guarantee you, this is about as predictable is going to go. The movie's going to do very well, and people are going to go, Jon Favreau should run Star Wars, which I love Jon Favreau, but he should not run Star Wars. What you need someone to do is you need to find an executive, like I said, is anywhere between 35 to 55 years old. Find an executive who has passion for these projects, and not just Star Wars. It's Lucasfilm. So other things and make some more original Lucasfilm stuff. Find that executive and let that executive build the team. That's how you build out Lucasfilm. Joey Pedris just became a new member. Thank you, Joey. Amazing. Pete Parker, 2288. Kristian, how would you fix the Cowboys? Eliminate them from the league. Also, what does Winston really think about the Yankees' chances?
I mean, look, honestly, I think this is going to 6 or 7 games. The one determining factor, because I know game 1 is tonight, so LA traffic is going to be effing nightmare. Yeah. Ohtani took a pretty bad ball to the knee during that last game. He's had obviously a week now to recover. As long as there was nothing more than probably like a bruise on his knee for that at the end of that series against the Mets, then I think that the Dodgers take it in 6 or 7. But that's what I mean. It's going the distance. Like, the Yankees are nothing to scoff at. It was a much better matchup for us if we had gotten against the Guardians.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Us? You're a Dodgers guy now?
That's my second team. I've lived in this city for 18, 19 years.
So
the Rangers above everything. And then after that, that would be the next team I root for. Yeah.
Turncoat. Luigi Sherry. Let's go Yankees. That's right, Luigi. You know it. You understand. Okay, let's Coy, you don't follow baseball at all. I could tell you that, there was a guy on the team named Louis Javjav, and you'd say, oh yeah, is he good?
He's great. He plays good.
He's really good. But would you agree that Roxy said her second favorite baseball team is the Yankees, and she's a Red Sox fan? I've never heard that before.
I think
I like
out of just like awareness, that's the team I'm aware of most second. And also Spiderman is from New York, even though he's a Mets fan, but yeah, sure.
Okay. Wes Morris. Hey gang. With Scott Snyder announcing he's working on season 2 of Witches animated series, who would you cast as the father from Witches comic in live action? Matthew Lillard is perfect for that role. I'd like to see Matthew Lillard in everything. So he told me the story about how he almost got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. and he's just like he's walking around. He's like doing like I said in the middle of him talking. I go, now I'm pissed you weren't in it. I was pissed, but I don't know enough. I don't know enough about that.
He's good casting. I like that a lot. I think Ben Foster is also someone to be good in that role. But any movie that Matthew Lillard in, I like more for him being in it. So I'm gonna stick with yours because I love that dude.
This is from SJC 360. Make a live action Clone Wars movie. Maul and his brother Ventress, young Ahsoka. They can make 3 movies while they work on a new future stories. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do that kind of stuff on Disney Plus for making like live action Clone Wars stuff, that would be great. I think that's the kind of stuff that in Ahsoka that did work out and looked cool. So, yeah. Okay. Killa Cam. Happy birthday to my little nephew Dixon. Man,
happy birthday!
Happy birthday, that's amazing. Dixon, and happy belated to Roka.
Oh yeah. I texted him on the day of. Dennis Hoffman. Venom 3 pulled a Black Adam with Null. Fun third act, but woof. Why do people want to cross the Venom over with Holland and Spidey? And by people, I guess he means Sony. In my opinion, it would tarnish Spidey. People should just read Cates' Venom run. I mean, I agree with him, but that's Sony trying to cash in.
I would argue you cannot truly do Spider-Man without eventually including Venom, but I think trying to force this together just seems like a lot. I would rather we get our own version of Venom in the MCU and let that happen naturally than to try and force this, as much as I love Tom Hardy, but that's just me.
I personally would love to see Tom Holland get the black suit, get the time with the symbiote, make the symbiote's animosity part of the Venom thing, because that's the whole point. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to get more than 2 or 3 more Andrew Garfields. So if you're going to do that, I'd prefer to see Andrew Garfield and Tom Hardy, because his sense of humor is more like they're totally more simpatico-tonally. That's what I would do.
Totally agree. They won't do that though. Julia, no, and that's it's because they're greedy. They're greedy.
Greedy cowards.
Greedy cowards. Fair. I saw Venom last night from Julius Wyatt, and I didn't like it. I was bored until the third act. I feel like you could feel this was made during strikes. At least it's better than Joker 2. Well, yeah, I mean, that is another thing.
That's wild.
But I know. You know what? I'll give props to it. Hour and 30 minutes.
That's true.
Great. But and I don't just say that because it's like, you don't have to put me through another half an hour of this. I say also because it's like they know what they didn't want to add into it. They knew what they were trying to tell, and they knew the story they were going to tell. Hour and 30 minutes. We're en route. That's it.
And that made it feel more like a 90s movie. Sorry, Winston. I just think that added to the 90s-ish of it all. Like that, like just get in, get out, have a fun time. Like the 90s movies were like, wee.
It knew what it wanted to be.
Absolutely. I was having a talk when I was at Skywalker Ranch this week with one of the main people that works out there, and we were talking just about that. How is it that our attention spans are fully broken due to TikTok and all the short form content that we've been dealing with for years, and yet movies seem to be going 2:45, 3:15, and I'm like, do you not see where this is not connecting? Right. That's not working.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it. Day Napper. Introducing a villain for another universe in the final Venom movie is a wild idea. I know what you're doing there. I don't like it. He's bringing up the wild stuff. Al Rensha. We'll see Venom 3 tonight and read about it mid-credits. Over under 30% that we'll see King in Black adapted into Spider-Man 4 or future Avengers film. Makes sense. That's all German to me.
King in Black is the Donny Cates run people were talking about earlier. Illustrations by Ryan Stegman, and they pulled a lot of Ryan Stegman energy, even like spiral stuff that is cool. But I do see it as an opportunity to make an Avengers level event out of the symbiote stuff, Spider-Man stuff, and I think if this does well, that could be it. But I also don't know. It also is a way to bring in, Toby and Andrew. Technically, you can make that work. I just think it'll all depend on what Andrew, Toby, and Tom all want and how well this movie does.
What Coy said.
All right. You guys are 30 away from tying, and 31 away from winning. Okay. So let's go to Michael Gustafon. I've only seen Venom 1, but the lobster tank scene was worth the price of admission. That was the one where I knew exactly what kind of tone it was. And I remember, I think it was Bibiani that I was having the conversation. I'm like, that was horrible. He's like, that was great. I'm like, oh, forget this. Michelle Williams is gold in that scene. That's what these Venom movies do. I guess well and not well at the same time. Until Michael just wrote that, I forgot that Michelle Williams was in it. You should never forget Michelle Williams was in anything. She's so good. And the same is going to be said about Juno Temple.
The first film is my favorite, and the lobster tank moment was my exact moment when I was like, they get how I see 90s Venom.
You knew.
So
I don't think you're going to forget Juno Temple just from the standpoint of like the only thing I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, there are a hell of Ted Lasso people in this. I think it'll just stick.
That's fair. I've never seen that. I think I've seen 2 episodes of that show, but I know her more so from
what?
Nah, it didn't hit for me the way it hit for everybody else. Chillmonger. Kristian, did I mistakenly hear you claim that Catherine Hahn is incredibly attractive the other day? Totally with you on Julia Roberts, but Hahn is, I guess, mid. Look, Catherine Hahn there's a difference between, like, she's a very pretty woman, but I think that there's a difference between, she's sexy. That's the thing with Catherine Hahn. Catherine Hahn just is a very sexy person. There's, as far as, look, you're going to put up Julia Roberts next to Catherine Hahn, you know where I'm going with that one. That's not even a question. But Catherine Hahn is a very, very sexy, and she's extremely talented too, and she's funny, she's confident. So yes, I find her, she's attractive.
Yo, Catherine Hahn could get it any day that ends in the letter Y. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 100%.
She's bad.
Yeah, she is. Buster Barnes. Gunn reiterated that lanterns will be grounded. Love that. I'm cool with this, but hope it's not too grounded. I still want comic accurate suits and cool constructs. I think that you're gonna get that because they're introducing Philion in the Superman movie.
Yeah, I think the Lantern show is the best below the line crew I've ever seen, and now that we're seeing who they're casting above the line, it's insane. Like, so the team behind it is too good for me to have any doubts whatsoever. It is ironic that the space cops are the grounded story, but I don't doubt it because of the team. If you'd told me 5 years ago, before everything changed at DC, they were doing a grounded Green Lantern movie, I'd be much more concerned. But now they get all plausible deniability. I have full faith in that squad.
Yeah. Matt Thomas. Shame on you, Winston. You know black don't crack. Mahershala Ali doesn't look his age, and if Wesley looked that good at 62, I think Ali will be fine. Yeah, but the problem is this. Blade or Wesley Snipes was in that movie for maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and he's not even if he does his own movie, he's not starting as Blade. He'll do maybe like a one-off in a smaller movie. Yeah.
I have so many issues with that comment. I mean, the first being that, like, did Wesley look good for his age for that movie? Sure, but he did not look like Blade from the first 3, and the dude is supposed to be a vampire, which means he doesn't age. So that's nonsense. And when you also throw in the fact that, again, we're not talking about Mahershala doing a movie or 2. We're talking about probably a decade-long run.
Right.
His body, even if he has the best trainers and the best nutritionists in the world, there's nothing that guarantees he's going to be doing those. Batista, a professional wrestler, and his whole job was to be fit, was like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Right. It is 100%. Buster Barnes. Mahershala Ali for DCU Martian Manhunter.
Sure. I could see that. I guess, again, I fall on the same issue. You're talking about a character that doesn't age by the nature of him shape-shifting. So I just think that if you're going to put somebody in the role of somebody that is non-aging or regenerative powers or whatever, they need to be on the younger side because there's no guarantee that they will still look the same way within the 10-year span you want to use them.
Yeah. Daynapper. I have not seen a bad film in theaters this year, and probably has nothing to do with the mushroom chocolates. What has been your favorite under the influence movie experience? 100% Team America. I was on mushrooms, 100%, and it was the best. I went out to my friend. Fig is what we called her, and she came out to check on me. She's like, "You've been gone for like 5 or 10 minutes." I was like, I'm doing good, and I walked back in, and I laughed so hard, and it was the best. Yeah, that was a good one.
Rango for me, same
Rango's
journey, dude. Rango is a time,
Rango's
man.
a good one.
Those photorealistic animals and those colors will change your life.
Bro, it has to be Speed Racer. I was so stoned, and I literally thought I was in an actual anime. That was fantastic.
Really, really good. That's really good. Freddie Castanello just puts in a little donation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, we're at 76, guys. Still got a shot here. Let's see. Shay Markel, middle white dude here. I love you. I love the show, you guys. Thank you. Freddie Castanello. Hey, Kristian. Love the show. With the success of Beetlejuice 2, first of all, thank you, Freddie. With the success of Beetlejuice 2 in the theater and now seeing the Agatha fan base, do you think Hocus Pocus 2 would have been a successful theater release? Hard to say. It depends on at the time that they put it out. No, because they're still connected to pandemic and things like that. The other side of it is how much do you spend on it? How much do the actresses want in order to come back? It's too hard to say. I don't know what you guys think.
I never really understand, not even the horror part of things. I know people love that, but like the kind of witchy element that is loved so much, I don't know enough of why that's like a thing. So I'm not a good person to answer this question. I think that if it were released now, sure, but when it was, I don't know.
I think witches and werewolves and the horror in general is killing it right now, and especially like right now. I think it could have done better holding it a year or two, but who's to say?
Bobby once. I'm with Winston. I thought Venom 3 was noticeably worse than the first two. It felt sloppy, incoherent, and amateur. Hot take, Morbius was better. Whoa.
Whoa!
Can't
we
go
were
there.
clearly on the same page until that part. No, because there was never a point where I said, this is fun. I at least said that about the final battle in Venom 3. I never said that about the only good thing about Morbius is Matt Smith and his
it's pretty stupid. Max Newmark. Young Avengers TV series could be similar to Marvel's Runaways show. I mean, the focus on that.
I would love that, and I would love to get the time to care about these characters more, like beyond the comics. I that's a different experience. The comic versus the show. Show me them. I want that.
Totally, I totally agree with that. I think it'd make way more sense to be a TV show. Sam Thomas, with Blade being delayed, there's a rumor that Midnight Suns will fold his story in. Do you guys see this as a viable option for beginning of a Blade arc? Yes, but it can't be Mahershala Ali, because that to me would be kind of disrespecting him. I think if you like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to let you play Blade, and eventually we'll get you the solo movie, but you're going to be in with a bunch of other people. That's
what you did with Scarlet, and how did that go?
That's not fair. That's not fair to do to him, and you should let him go and do it.
I thought you said the comparison.
No. Totally. So, I mean, do you guys disagree?
Totally agree.
No, I'm on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. So 77 questions in. It's pretty great so far. So let's see, where's the next one? Coming in 77. I at least hitting the 80, I think, but it looks like I'm not gonna count you guys out yet. I'm not gonna count you yet. Dennis Hoffman. Jumping on Young Avengers. Will any Disney Plus series then followed up with a movie work? You've trained people to watch these characters at home. In my opinion, Mandalorian Grogu isn't the home run that people say it is. So if it was somebody else directing it, and I do think it is a home run. And this is coming from someone who is clearly critical of Star Wars right now. I do think it's a home run because you have Favreau, you have an idea where they want to go. You can get at least Pedro Pascal to promote the movie. And you also, it's the only new thing that they've done that is mainstream. Like, most people on the street, if I stop somebody at this, this bagel shop down the corner, and I ask them, hey, have you ever heard of Ahsoka? What? We don't carry that. You want cream cheese? Have you heard of Baby Yoda? Yeah, that's the Star Wars thing. That's what would happen.
The fact that people obviously the character was just called Baby Yoda forever, but like even the main populace sort of understands the name Grogu at this point is also something to be said. They'll still probably say Baby Yoda, but like the fact that the common person knows the name Grogu is kind of crazy.
My family, we were big Star Wars people growing up. Like the original trilogy was huge. My brother's name is Lucas. Like we were big Star Wars people. And my mom just didn't connect to it. And then Grogu happened. And now she literally has 6 Grogus, one of which I got at the Sideshow collectible, like real one, which is like a shrine in our home. And she brings a Baby Yoda around like a child. Like it's keeping me from rushing to grandkids. It's lovely. But that's how much like that character
It was everywhere.
So.
It was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere. SJC360, can you tell me why people are extra hyped for Fantastic Four? You got 3 bad movies, comics cancel often, Doom is the crown jewel, Ultimate Read is better than Read. I think because the story is, yes, I agree that the movies haven't been done right, but I think that's why. I think because the comics were done so well and the characters resonated with so many people that need for a good movie and them told in the right way is what people are excited about.
The same reason people are excited for the Superman movie that's out 2 weeks around that one. We want a great version of these characters we love so much.
Yeah, and I look, I may not like the Fantastic Four all that much personally, but knowing so many things that they're connected to, seeing what the cast that they put forth, and knowing the possibilities of what this could mean. So combining those last two comments into one, that is why I think that people are so excited about it if they're not diehard Fantastic Four fans.
Okay, next question here, and that is from Armada. Is Richard a fan of Joan Fabrics? Hey, listen, be honest with you, I hadn't even heard about it, and I saw there's a big twist on Burnett going on right now, and a little sewing machine action. I cut up my knee the other day, and I sewed myself like Rambo in the woods. Thanks.
Jesus.
Appreciate it, Richard. Let's see, next one, and that is Day Napper. What was the first NDA you signed that made you think, I know something good, stay awesome? It's a great way to ask that question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell, I can't tell you. How about that?
I signed an NDA.
You can sign an NDA.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I can't even say when I signed it.
I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that and use it on an actor. I tried to get Renzi. Renzi at one point, he was talking about a role that he had got. He's like that he was up for. He's like, it was a Disney Plus thing, and it was that close to getting it. And I said, and he said it again, another role. And I go, can you give me one of these? And he didn't. But it was enough that I asked. Okay, let's see. Billy Atwood, James Gunn's Batman having Damian. James Gunn's Batman having Damian, and I'm assuming the other Robins. He might be a little older. Who would you guys like to see as the Jim Gordon in that universe? I think Bryan Cranston would be great. Bryan Cranston. You like that one, Coy?
I've wanted Bryan Cranston since when Matt Reeves was casting. I did a big Batman fan cast the day they confirmed Pattinson, and he was my Gordon then. He still is today. He's like got the perfect orange mustache. He's got the vibe, the voice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Buster Barnes, Creature Commandos trailer was fire. I didn't watch it because I'm waiting to see it. At this point, I'm just waiting to see it. Way more excited for it. Which characters are you all looking forward to seeing the most? I know nothing about it. I'm going to go kind of blind. But Coy, did you like the trailer?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Creature Commandos because it's basically like the Suicide Monster Squad. So it's kind of tying into the theme. This we've got to have this B plot to this episode of like vampires and monsters, and like that's what the culture is shifting into being popular. I think James Gunn is hitting the nail on the head by doing superheroes and monsters combined. So I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I really like the trailer. I'm a huge fan of Frank Grillo, and Frank like says it's one of the best scripts he's ever read. And Alan Tudyk, who is one of the biggest voice actors like that also does live action, said it was one of the funniest scripts he's ever read when we did a panel. So I like that those are two people that are very different. Like Alan Tudyk's sense of like and Frank Grillo's sense of like are so different, and they both loved it.
Yeah.
And then the footage and everything else. So I'm ecstatic for Creature Commandos.
Winston, same.
Yeah, I mean, I know essentially that they are Monster Suicide Squad in that regard, but that's about where the buck stops for me, and I haven't seen the trailer yet, so there you go.
Bad Coyote Funky, thank you so much for the very generous donation. Blade, I can't believe the level of incompetence at Marvel in which they couldn't write a movie about a guy who hunts vampires. Keep the multi out of it. Make it simple, make it action-packed, and Ali probably left. I don't blame him. Well, you know what's funny about all that is that I agree with all of it, but it's probably exactly the same reason why they put it on the shelf, because they probably figured that out too. And it seems like that was the rumor, is that they're like, we can't do this big. It's got to be a small movie, but it's just not, now's not the time.
I personally see that tweet going around all the time where people are like, just make a vampire movie. They make like 20 vampire movies a year, and you hear about the two good ones. It's very easy to mess up simple.
Right. The only reason you're hearing a lot about that they're making a comeback is you got Ryan Coogler and Nolan sniffing around them. And that's why.
And how many movies when you type Vampire 2024 pop up?
A ton
like
of
all the other
ones. Sure. But so I think that you can let them pull back a little bit and wait. Buster Barnes, 2026 is a massive year for movies with big IPs. Will this be the telling year as to whether movie theaters can recover to how they were pre-pandemic? Well, I think 2025 is going to be that year. 2025 has a ton of stuff coming out.
There's a lot of stuff.
So much coming out,
and not just in the superhero space,
no,
just in general.
everything.
There is an insane amount.
So I think 2025 into 2026, because 2024, some stuff got pulled off because of the strike and other things, and things got pushed and moved, and things that were supposed to be shot. Remember, Deadpool got pushed far into whenever it was, June or July. When did that movie come out?
July.
Right? Pushed into the end of July. Yeah.
Just looking at a couple real quick. There's a Wolfman movie coming out. We obviously know that the next Jurassic World movie is coming out. This is next year. Love
Superman.
Hurts, the Ke Kwan trailer we just saw. Brave New World, A New Bridget Jones. We talked about Spiderman. We got Vicious.
What's the big December movie next year?
Give me third.
Yeah. The DCU kicks off next year, and Marvel has 7 things.
There's a Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There's Avatar. Avatar
that's
3.
What it is. Avatar's the big one.
There's a new SpongeBob movie.
Yeah, but Avatar.
100 Acre Wood Christmas movie. Yeah.
Right. Avatar's the big one. Avatar and what's that?
Blumhouse has 10 things. Marvel has 7. DCU kicks off.
It's gonna be huge.
Wait a minute. Just real quick. Another Tron, October to December. Another Tron, Black Phone 2, Mortal Kombat 2, another Predator movie. Now you see 3, Wicked Part 2.
Yeah. It's gonna be huge. Emmanuel Torres.
I'm waiting until 2026 to get married because next year's so soon.
I'm sure. Emmanuel Torres. Now that he's probably out, let's start pitching Mahershala Ali for the new Magneto. So that's a role that he could do.
See that.
Only role that can compensate for the blade blunder. I don't disagree with that. That would be pretty damn good.
I love that.
That would be pretty. Cool. That would be pretty good. Okay. Billy Atwood. Yankees going to beat the Dodgers in 7. What do you think? I think they beat him in 6. How about that? Going to beat him in 6. Hater. Jim 1. Like the Furbies and Cabbage Patch Kids, the Baby Yoda craze could be over by 2026, if not already. Also, will audiences pay to see a Mando movie when the show appeared to be losing steam after season 2? Well, it lost steam after 3. I don't know if it lost it. 2 was good. No, look, this is the beauty of marketing. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. If it's been sitting out and you haven't seen anything at all, and you're not getting another season, and he pops back up on the big screen, and you can take your kids to see it and everything else too. Yeah, it's gonna. I'm telling you, it's gonna look the most. Jon Favreau is a original trilogy guy. It's going to feel the most old trilogy out of all of them, unless Filoni gets his mitts on it, and then look out. Jim 1. Oh, he did that one. Andrew Carnes. Which low-key character you think could have an Iron Man Deadpool-like rise in popularity? If DCU hits big, my pick, Constantine, if they cast a snarky Brit. I'm going to let you guys take this one.
Sorry, Wes, go ahead.
I mean, Constantine is a great choice. I think Booster has a very high probability of doing that too, especially if you end up with a Booster Blue Beetle kind of duo tandem. I think that could really do some work. I mean, the other one, and I don't really think that they're that B, but if you want to call them B, I honestly think that dynamic duo show, if done properly, I think that having a Nightwing and a Red Hood, also buddy cop kind of situation could just go.
If you're looking at just Deadpool archetype, I think that Booster Gold is most likely. I think Plastic Man is extremely likely, and I think that Lobo could be that for like a different demographic of older fan. I think like Momoa Lobo would surprise a lot of people with how popular he got, but DC's got a ton of characters that fit that irreverent, super popular way to do commentary on itself.
Okay. Next one. Shay Markel. Love and support for the big dog Winston. Thanks, Shay. Bad Coyote Funky. Kathleen moving forward with a Rey movie shows why she won't go out on a win. Anti-Star Wars fan wants, needs. Give me Old Republic. Every new generation that wants these cinematics wonder why we don't have them as a show movie. I'll tell you why. There's two reasons why. It's not just her. Filoni ain't a fan of it. Filoni's not a fan of a lot of those things, and she's gonna listen to him. She's like, yeah, I don't think we need to go into that. We're not gonna do Old Republic. George didn't like this. That's what's gonna happen there. So there's a lot of things where they have this storyline and stuff that they want to do. She wants to bring Rey back. I don't think having Rey back is a bad thing. I like Daisy Ridley. I think, and I think an opportunity to actually show the Jedi coming back is a good thing. But stick with the damn story. Stop hiring 87 different writers. I don't think sticking with Rey is the bad idea. I think that if you do it right and get a good story, I do think that movie can make a lot of money. So I disagree with the notion of, there's tons of people who just want to hate on it because, look, I didn't like the new trilogy, but I liked Rey, and I like to see what they could do. Fred Jurgens for the True Dick. There you go. Armada, hear me out. Ridley Scott's Blade. Ridley Scott wants to make Gladiator 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So
that said, like 20 years ago would have been like, man, I would have loved Blade Runner.
Totally.
Blade.
Yeah. Cowboys fan 92. You know what you should do? You should hire Nolan. Say, don't do that vampire movie. Do Blade. Cowboys fan 92. Hey, Winston, Harloff, and Coy, sup? I've been following you three among the others from your old time Collider. Love all three of yours content on your channels. By the way, John got me reading single comic runs. I'm not sure. Maybe Coy got me reading. I'm not sure, but thank you so much. Appreciate that. He's a Cowboys fan though, but hey, what do you do?
A little bit for all of us.
All of us. But
on your show, giving Winston Cowboy
Fair.
love, and John here, very excited for
very.
Is he talking about Schnepp?
I don't know.
Oh, that would make sense.
That would make sense. Okay. C Black. Are we headed to Children's Crusade and Time Run Out? What's that? I don't know what that is. You guys know what that is? Are we headed to?
Those are, I believe, like those are X-Men runs. There's also a Young Avengers run with a medley of that kind of title. So yeah, we could be. Time Runs Out would be interesting. But they got a lot of groundwork to lay first.
Travis Nickerson. Recently went to Perry's screening of Weekend into Pie with Luke Evans and Sung Kang. That's awesome. Fun movie. Comes out November 8th. Glad I caught part of your show. I'm glad you caught it too. Thanks, Travis. And that's good. Great that you saw Perry. Perry's killing it right now.
Killing it.
Corn Empire. The return of Spill the Tequila. Is that coming back?
That's happening tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific, so you don't want to miss that.
Let's see. Next one is Cowboys fan 92. P.S. Marshall, my fellow Texan, do you think we can beat the Niners this weekend? Winston, keep in mind Niners are missing good players.
Yeah, and so are we. We don't have a defense. We're missing a lot of starters. I honestly think this is going to be one of the sloppiest games of football, and we're still going to lose because, Jerry is making things worse, not better, by running his mouth constantly.
Travis follows up. Underrated Western type is Quigley Down Under with Tom Selleck and the late, great Alan Rickman. I haven't seen that I don't remember seeing it, but I remember the movie, but I remember Alan Rickman being in it. It's so great. Oh, no. Damn it. I'm going to read this one last. These guys did
Why? Why?
Fine. Susan Frainer. Can Winston do his country voice? It gets me crying.
Gets me crying. Okay. I mean, what in particular would you like me to say, little lady? I mean, I'm right here. Talk about whatever you want. We can talk about Spiderman. We can talk about that Superman up there in Gotham City and all that. I know that's where Batman resides, but whatever you thinking, little lady, we can talk about it. She said crying.
No, she was crying. That's what she said. No, but laughing, I guess. Great show, guys. This is from Drew 914. Thank you. Thank you. What would you guys like to see with the Superman trailer that is supposed to come out soon? I think what Coy was talking about before, the overall that feel that you got of Superman and what the essence of him was with the Christopher Reeve version, the old school comics, like the old school version of Superman. I like Man of Steel. I think more so than anybody else on the panel, but I want to see that version of it, and I want to hear the music. I want to hear the new music. But what do you guys think?
That Image of Crypto, man, I'm already so excited. Everything we've seen from it, I don't want to see too much because it's so far away, but just give me I would love to see some sweeping shots and then just the unbuttoned S. Like I just want to feel the Superman hype.
Just a lot of stuff blowing up and people's loss of hope. And then all of a sudden it's exactly what Coy said, just boom.
The first 2/3 of that is just the news, Winston.
Don't show any of Corn Sweat. Maybe his hands open in the chest, but
nothing.
Don't show his face.
Mike Joyce, do you like Trick or Treat? I saw it for the second time for Dorina's watch along she did last night. Everyone else loved it, but I'm still lukewarm on it. You're not gonna. I don't think Coy. You're not like a big horror guy either, right?
Not a big horror guy.
So
generally.
the three of us, you're not gonna really get. I mean, I remember when it came out, but I don't know if I've ever seen a frame of it.
I watched the Batman last night because this is the first year in every 7 years that movie is accurate because it's Thursday, October 31st.
Oh, interesting.
It starts on Halloween, but it's a Thursday Halloween. So last night was a
nerd
week
brain
until.
on Coy. Roger Paulson. Hey guys, Winston, did you get a chance to watch Brandon Lee's The Crow? If so, what did you think?
I have not watched it
Oh,
yet.
man.
It's actually one of the ones that I want to do one of my first reactions for on my like the watch along reactions and whatnot, and just to compare the two, because Lord knows I did not like what came out a couple months ago.
Yeah,
So.
that one
I don't know how
didn't see.
fast you edit, but it takes place on Devil's Night, which is October 30th. So if you can
Yeah.
get it up for then.
Yeah. Alexander Wilson, Steve Asbell at 20th Century announced sequels to Apes, which glad, Alien Romulus, glad, and that 2 Predator movies are coming out next year, along with a prequel to Master and Commander. Really? A prequel to Master and Commander? Thoughts? Out of all, every single one of those, I'm like, no brainer. Master and Commander.
I agree.
Right? That's
Fox
okay.
has been, or 20th Century Studios been killing it, but then they throw a curveball like that, then it does crazy well, and we're like, I guess they were right.
I guess they were right. I don't know. That's a weird one. New member, Bad Coyote Funky. Thank you so much. Zach, Mind Talks Movies. What a fun collider. What's a fun collider behind the scenes story that you can tell? A fun one? Let's see. I don't know which one. I remember then when Katie came in, when she was on Collider Live, and she had said something where we pretty much revealed that she had gotten cast in The Mandalorian, but the audience didn't pick up on it. So then we all, like, when we went to break, we all cornered her. We're like, come on, just tell us. She's like, you can't say anything. And that was it. So, which she wasn't, but she didn't really give it up. She didn't tell us.
She was talked about at ILM, and they were like, and this is Katie Sackhoff. I was going to text you. I just forgot. She was like, this is Katie Sackhoff's helmet here from Mando. It's pretty cool.
That was really cool. Christopher Carrillo, Patty LaPone. Wow, is her character MVP of Coven? Which one is that? Is that the older one?
That's Agatha. Yeah, the one that's clairvoyant.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That's the highlight of this week, but you haven't seen this week yet. I think she's absolutely the MVP.
Okay.
Her and Aubrey Plaza are killing it for me.
Do you guys have any? Because I don't want to brush off that the comment. Do you have any behind the scenes Collider ones that you?
I always think Schnepp when I go to Vegas, because we saw each other a couple weeks before we lost Schnepp in Vegas. We had a con, and he's so tall that for years I would always just, like, when I'm on a con floor, you find Schnepp. Like, he's always like this anchor to, like, you know, when you're in a group. And it was really funny because we were in Vegas, and we were walking through Caesars, and I couldn't find Schnepp, which is a hard thing to not be able to find him. Because it's just like the easiest. Yeah. And I looked over, and he was hiding next to a bunch of busts. And I remember turning my head and just seeing Schnepp's face between a bunch of busts. And it was the funniest image to me, because he knew I was looking for him. And he was just like,
it's hiding like a Bigfoot in the woods.
It was amazing. Yeah. So that I always, whenever I go to Vegas, I think of the Collider days and Schnepp.
Yeah.
My behind the scenes would have been probably one of the first or second times I ever did Collider Live. I was like passed out on one of the couches, and not only was did Roxy take photos of me or whatever to save for later, but like I thought she had no idea who the hell I was. Mm-hmm. So like all of a sudden she was like being really nice to me, and I was like, are we friends? Like what just happened? And now we are.
Yeah. Jedi Master for Life. Watching Agatha with subtitles, see that they use magic with the MAGICK. Is this coincidence? Will we see the character, or is this another Mephisto rabbit hole? What do you guys think?
I noticed that too, and I hope it means the character, because I'm a huge fan. I think Anya Taylor-Joy, ironically, is so perfectly cast, just in the wrong universe at the wrong time. But the character is amazing, and I think she'd fit in this supernatural, spooky corner they're taking up.
Victor Gamora, San Francisco Giants fan here. Hurts me to say this, but go Yankees. That's right. Because you can't, you're a Giants fan. That's like me rooting for the Red Sox.
No, I understand. You would never, no, I get it. You would never, though I will say, I hated the Patriots so much that I did pull for the Eagles that one Super Bowl they won. But then when it was against the Chiefs, I was like, I hope the Eagles die.
Travis Nickerson. I got the perfect person. Chloe for Ag in live action Lantern movie. Chloe? K. I don't know what that is. K-I-L-O-W? What is that? I can't. K-I. It's one. I got the perfect person. Kilo, K-I-L-O-W. Is that somebody?
Like Kilowog? Kilowog's a Green Lantern.
I think he missed it. It was kind of a typo. So yeah, Kilowog must be in live action Lantern movie. Kevin Gruvo, who played huge second in command werewolf in Underworld, has the size and deep voice like Michael Clark Duncan. I don't know.
Oh, he's definitely talking about Kilowog then, because Michael Clark Duncan played him.
Okay, so you think that would be good?
Yeah, that totally works. And that's the important parts, is the physicality and that gravel.
Okay. Julius Wyatt, Winston, do your Cowboys beat the Niners Sunday night? He already said no. Yeah. And then Spidey Sensei 172 just ordered a copy of King in Black Omnibus. Koi's never let me down for comics choices before. Look at Koi, you're spreading the word.
Yeah, and that's a required reading for this movie. And Donnie and Ryan, thank you, because those guys pour their heart into that book. And it's the fastest a character has ever gone from comic to film in history. Is no.
Shay Markel, is anyone hyped about Mission Impossible still? Mike, for sure, and I am too. I want to see how it closes out.
I love those movies.
Yeah.
They've been going since I was a kid. So the gap in this is, I feel like we now assume sequels have to be like 2 years, but why in my day it was like decade.
Screwface is here. As someone who isn't a middle-aged white guy and who has nieces and brothers that's younger, I don't think that the younger generation cares about the MCU in general to the level that we do. Could be wrong, but I don't see it. Yeah, it's interesting. By the way, you guys are at 102. You're 2 away from tying.
Oh, come on, y'all. You get 3 more. You get 3 for the fucking tie. We're only 3 away. I'm sorry. I know the children watching this. 3 more. Come on.
Joey Pedris. Outside of Superman, who has the best alien in comics?
Outside of Superman, who's the best alien?
Yeah. In comics, in general. Rocket.
Rocket's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man, I am very partial to John Jones. I really like the Martian Manhunter personally. If we're including, do we include just American comics, or can we include manga?
I mean, he didn't give. You can do whatever you want.
Vegeta.
Then I'm close. I was gonna just say Goku straight up. I mean, he is the focal point. I love me some Vegeta. There's gotta be Goku, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
He's the Prince of all Saints. I'm gonna go with. Okay, there's a really obscure comic called The Nice House on the Lake, and there's an alien character there that really beautifully reflects humanity by being outside of it, and it makes me existential, and I think that's the fun thing about aliens, how we look outside. But for the same reason, if you want to go more mainstream, Silver Surfer, especially in Silver Surfer Black, is a really cool commentary on humanity from the outside.
All right. Next one here, and this is Dylan Neil, excuse me. Hey guys, love the show as always. Thank you. The rumor is Young Avengers might become a subplot in the Avengers films. Thoughts? I'd be okay with that. If it's in a subplot, I'd be totally fine with that. If it's a subplot and it works for the story of it, yeah.
When you kind of also know their origin of, like, they appeared because the Avengers had been disbanded. It was like right after Avengers disassembled, wasn't it, Koi?
Yep.
That, like, if you wanted to do it in a sense of like the Avengers try and make stuff happen, and maybe that's what happens in Doomsday. And then the Young Avengers are the ones that have to kind of bring Ish back together amongst all, like, maybe that's what kind of kicks off sequel. I could see that, and that would actually make a lot of sense.
I'd like them to be the cavalry that helps save the day. That's that.
Christian Medard, will there ever be DC Dark Multiverse movies or shows? I like those stories. They're so different. I love Batman who laughs at the deceased comics.
I think that Scott Snyder's popularity right now with Absolute Batman will absolutely help it. Scott Snyder wrote the Batman Who Laughs, and I think they'd be good animated. I think that the Elseworlds are going to be already like Matt Reeves Batman, and then the mainstream Damian Wayne Batman, like as a father. That'll be that corner, but I would love to see some multiverse dark stuff.
Shelby Y, the answer is yes to this, but has Winston given his take on Agatha? You're enjoying the show, right?
I absolutely am adoring Agatha.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun with the show, and definitely go check out my channel, because I've been doing first I was doing reactions and reviews. I've kind of bundled them into one, so definitely go check that out.
This is Bam86. MCU shouldn't put every hero in the Avengers. Shang-Chi made no sense to be an Avenger. He had zero incentive. Well, they just kind of didn't do anything with him recently. At all. Travis Nickerson got the perfect way to make SpongeBob a horror movie. He has a sponge. Use him to clean up the blood at the Saw house. It's pretty funny.
Oh my god,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then C Black, who says, "I'm taking receipts for people downing the MCU. Don't bet against Feige." I mean, like I said, they're turning things around. They're turning things around and trying. So we'll see how that's going to play.
We're getting to Feige's favorite stuff now after 15 years. I really think the MCU, when we look back in 5 years, it's going to be like, whoa. But I think the next 1 or 2 just a little rocky.
Especially just from the standpoint of, if he had that much energy and vigor to make phases 1 through 3 happen, and they weren't even his favorite thing to do, you just gave him that massive breath of life to go, can you do it again? And now with the things you love.
Yep.
And the recency bias of doubting him is through a pandemic and a strike.
Yeah. Corn Empire. Emperor, excuse me. I think that Filoni needs to stick to his own little world. We need someone completely different to be in charge. I agree. I couldn't agree more with that. Chris Listenfeld, holla bitches. Thank you. And let's see. Shay Markel. I don't think Winston's voice makes her cry. Maybe not. It could. Jedi Master for life. With Crypto now in the DCU, do we see Ace the Bat family dog? I think this could be a great way to get the audience to care more about the Bat family. Give me one dog. Not too many dogs.
I think Crypto makes more sense for Superman than Ace ever made for Batman.
Yeah.
But if it happens, like maybe just a dog lives in the cave, I don't think he'll be fighting crime.
At most, maybe he like fights someone that's invading the cave. I could see that, but don't take him out in the streets. I don't know if we need all that.
Julius Wyatt, favorite Hans Zimmer score. Mine is The Lion King. He's got so many. I do love Inception.
Oh, Inception. I mean, The Dark Knight, the Joker's score is so perfect.
I absolutely love Inception, and I love what he did with Nolan's trilogy for Batman, but I think it might be Interstellar for me.
It's a good one. That's a great score.
I cannot wait for that re-release in December, dude. I haven't seen it in like 10 years. Oh,
it's a great score. Susan Frerer, I was crying, but it wasn't out of my eyes. Yeehaw.
Howdy, little lady.
That's right. Bad Coyote Funky. Thanks to Kristian for putting on these great shows. Thanks, man. Fans love the passionate and civil discourse. We love these shows, and it's important for us in this space to know that it's okay to not like everything and to like anything. That's 100%. That's the goal of this channel, and I'm glad that you saw it. Thank you for that very kind donation. Wicked Art. Hey, Kristian, I just sent you a 2-page spread for this Capes issue that turned out really cool. Again, sorry for taking us long. You stop apologizing. You take as long as you want.
Make art, man.
Yeah. Will we ever get Omega Red?
I think that's going to be a big push when we bring the X-Men in as all the villains we didn't get originally, and there's so many that are like that. I think a Wolverine versus Omega Red would be a really cool way to separate that Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think we'll get him soon.
Armada, Black Ops 6 Day. And then he follows it up with Dick, a.k.a. Richard Grayson. Okay.
Right.
True Dick.
That's right. C Black. Thoughts on a Scarlet Witch movie? Doom and Wanda together. I mean, they're really trying to play the greatest hits.
But I'm here for it if you're going to redeem what you just tainted. Like I think you had so much potential to take what was phenomenal in WandaVision and let that really grow, and you kind of besmirched it. So if you're going to fix that, and that's not the high we go, that's not the low we go out on. Hell, even if you want to push a House of M, come on, man.
I think Scarlet Witch makes sense. I also think we just passed Steph because I think, right?
You guys just did it with 107. Just did it. You guys won the week.
Yeah.
So, Jake, have you seen the trailer for Creature Commandos? No, we didn't. I didn't. It's set in the new DCU, but if that's true, I'm confused why characters connected to DCEU are there. Are there?
I don't
know. Which ones are? I'm not sure which ones. I haven't seen the trailer, so I can't speak on it. But I guess maybe it's Amanda Waller. Is that?
Yeah, Amanda Waller comes over, but
I guess
that was the one
they established that she's gonna return.
And I think we'll see how in Peacemaker.
Yeah. Travis says, I think that they already had a prequel to Master and Commander, Chris Elliott's Cabin Boy in 1994. These pipes are clean. Heroic Hideaway. Can we get Big Balls to play Green Lantern Chip? That would be amazing if he would.
That would be cool.
I think he could do it.
Man, I'll make a whole bunch of things. Right, Coy? Come on, baby. Where's that cat? Give me that cat. Where's that cat? Hey, cat don't want any of this. I'll be my Green Lantern.
Nice. Let's see. We got Shay Markel. Coy and Winston, do you think we'll ever get a live action Akira? Personally, I'm too much of an anime fan. I hope this never happens. They'll ruin it.
Yeah, I hope that I don't have a problem with it, but I need someone that this is a complete and total love of theirs, and that they put respect on name, and this isn't going to be Dragon Ball Evolution or the first, Shyamalan Airbender. I need you to put some super respect because you're dealing with a legendary IP if you're going to do that.
I think the Wachowskis, you were talking about Speed Racer earlier. Give me an anime live action or nothing.
Yeah.
I think Taika Waititi has it now, but
yeah. Well, I know DiCaprio was supposed to do it at that one point. Yeah. Matt Thomas, I just sent this to help push you guys over. Winston, have you finished My Adventures with Superman yet? And Kristian and Coy, have you even given it a chance? It's not a matter of giving it a chance. I don't know what the hell it is.
It is they did a essentially kind of anime take, more or less, not full anime, but an anime take of Superman. That's really well done. You had Quaid, Jack Quaid is Superman in that. But no, it's good. I have about half of season 2 to finish.
Okay.
I've seen all of season 1. I reacted to it at Real Rejects, and I read all the comics that take place in that canon. So don't disrespect my Superman experience.
Susan says, thoughts on the rumor of Denzel to voice Dormammu? I love it. I hope it's true.
That'd be cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I want to see Denzel in something like this so bad.
too.
And he's having like a little pop because of Gladiator. I'd love for
Yeah,
him to go
apparently
from,
apparently he's great in it.
I cannot wait for Gladiator.
I'm seeing it next week, I think.
It's
or
my
the
biggest
following.
movie the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like that's my most anticipated.
Me too. Armada, there's a new trailer for the spy crime Paramount Plus show with Fassbender called The Agency. You guys interested? I didn't know anything about it, but I'm interested now that you told me about it because I like Fassbender a lot, and him as a spy, I'm in. Yeah. Fireside reviews. Unless I missed it, did you see that Spider-Man 4 is releasing summer 2026? Yeah, we did talk about it right before we started doing the questions. What does that mean for his role within those films? I think they're really building for him to be the guy. I think he's going to be the main protagonist.
They announced it as apparently Spider-Man Tom Holland movie.
Yeah.
Like they put Tom Holland in it. So
Yeah.
he's got that producer. He's pushing.
He is. Jim 1, bigger hit, Moana 2 or Mufasa? Or a surprise Wicked? I think Wicked's going to do very well. I think it's got a shot because it's live action, because you don't discount the Broadway fans. I think Moana 2 will be the biggest.
I think Moana 2 out of those 3.
Yeah.
Okay, got a couple left and we're done. Buster Barnes. Gunn has said that certain past DCEU events will be considered DCU canon when mentioned, aka the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1. Gunn directed. Did he say that? I don't know. I don't remember him saying that. I thought he said there was going to be like a multiverse type thing and try to explain it. I didn't think he said that past events. That wouldn't make sense though, because of the Peacemaker stuff. They included Aquaman, they included Momoa and stuff in there.
And I assume it's going to be the helmet that brings him into another multiverse.
Maybe.
So I don't think they're going to. Yeah, we'll see.
And then the last one, Shay Markel. I just wanted to show some gratitude for you. You always do, Shay. Thank you. I hope you all and everyone in the chat has a great and safe weekend. You guys are awesome. And with that, Winston and Coy, I think for the first time have done it together.
First time
to get 2-time champion, baby. You know what that's a good sign for? My mother-loving Dodgers.
2-time champion, and the second time you've hit over 100. So that's big. That's big. Okay. And the first time Coy's hit 100. So Coy joining the 100 club. And we did it. So thank you guys for joining us. As always, make sure you can see Coy and Winston. They both gave their plugs to their channels before. Make sure you check out both of them. I lied. 112. Buster Barnes. Gunn said it in the panel. Keyword is events. Okay.
That's like event comics. I can't wait to see how this all works out.
Me too. But I thank all of you guys. I thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. We had a really good week. Really appreciate it. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. If you haven't watched the Matthew Lillard interview, please do so. It's a really great conversation. I had a lot of fun with him. Next Wednesday, we will be showing the Renzi Felice interview that I did with him. So make sure you check that out. I just did an animation review of the Wild Robot. I did a reaction with Sam on that one. So lots of things on the channel. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys really, really soon. Go Yankees. Eat it. Dodgers. See you later. Bye.
Loser.
Loser. I don't have any music. Oh, there it is.